Salutations, fellow mutants, and welcome to the Middle-Aged Mutant Show. My name is Ty, and right now I've got two co-hosts. Two mutants with a gut full of fear. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here. He's the ball cracker, death on foot. You know him, you love him. He's No H, the challenger, direct from out of the wasteland. He's bad, he's beautiful, he's crazy. It's the man named Bodz. Now you can't bitch about your opener.
No, that was great. That was really good.
I mean, it was good. I mean,
I want to go watch Thunder.
Appropriate here. So
I want to go watch Thunderdome now.
If he's Blaster and you're Max, you know what that makes me?
The creepy guy that looked like Gilbert Godfrey with the weird shoulder pad thing. Yeah.
I've always seen you as more of a Tina Turner type.
Oh yeah, I have great legs, so
yeah, they're insured.
They're insured.
This is mainly as far as the audio feed is concerned. You can't tell this mutants at home, but yeah, Ty's been known to have some gams. So, and on the previous episode, you used to run around in boxer shorts. Yeah, that's how proud of your.
He showed them off.
Though. It was the high ones though, that just barely cheek peeking out. That's what it was.
Little cheek peek.
People like to forget that part. It's like the underboob of men's asses.
I try to forget that part.
All right, people. We're gonna go over the topics that we're gonna be talking about today. Just a brief list here. First of all, in VOD news, Cobra Kai's creators decide to end the show. Sorry, Bodz.
Yeah.
Star Trek Discovery is in its final season. Finally getting some much needed penicillin for that STD. We may or may not talk about this. I don't know, but Clancy Brown has been cast as Salvatore Maroni in the new Penguin HBO Max show. Hellboy, the Crooked Man, cast Jack Kesey as Hellboy. Don't know who the hell he is.
He was Black Tom Cassidy in Deadpool. Yeah, in Deadpool too.
Barely remember. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. Go ahead and type F in the chat because we lost another ginger. Just spoiler alert there.
Another one down.
In comic book news, The Last Ronin, The Lost Years, we'll be talking about that. Batman 133, I'm going to be talking about what is the Found Objects Batsuit. Scott Koblish did a variant cover for Fantastic Four 700, and it's the Where's Waldo of comic book covers. Joe Madureira, he will be putting out a book called Battle Chasers again in 2023.
Yay!
But who cares, because he won't be drawing most of it.
Oh.
Celebrities writing comics, we'll be talking about that today. What's the deal with it? What is the significance of $4.99? We're going to answer that question today. Bodz will be telling us about the Todd McFarlane's incoming DC toys. That's a lot. Hopefully we'll get to all of it. And not anymore, just that on this episode of the Middle-Aged Mutant Show. So first, let's just get right into it. Cobra Kai creators decide to end the show, but promise spinoffs. Now,
well, I can tell you right now, I know if there's a spinoff, you want a Hawk spinoff because Hawk's your favorite. You mentioned this before.
My favorite. Here, let's go to Cobra Kai. So after I saw the first 2 or 3 episodes of the second season, I kind of gave up on that. I just was like,
you got to keep going. It keeps getting better.
Well, it started to feel like an ABC special, and I was like, I'm just not into this.
No, you got to keep going.
Well, you did better than I did. I haven't even watched the series yet, so I'm just so far out of the loop. Mr. Miyagi would be so ashamed of me.
Well, I guess that makes me the expert on the show now.
Yeah, Jackie Chan would also be ashamed of me, but for unrelated reasons.
Oh, guys, this is the only the Miyagi verse, so they don't even. No,
that's not true because the kid, what was his name? The kid that was in the movie, not the Wayans brother. It's Will Smith. Jaden. He's in this.
Jaden, yeah. No.
Yeah, no, that was the last season, right?
No, that's another little kid.
Oh, I swear that was him. Okay, well,
yeah, he would be way older at that point.
Yeah, no, he was old. I saw a picture the other day, and it was talking about Cobra Kai, and I thought, well, there's Jaden Smith. He must be on the show now.
That would be interesting, but I don't
No,
let me
I haven't
no.
let me quickly look this up to see what I'm talking about. I could be referencing something
that was a little nerdy kid that was getting bullied, and then he joins Cobra Kai, and then he becomes the bully. If I'm thinking of the same character you're thinking of.
I don't know where I saw that. I made that up in my head, apparently.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah.
But here's the thing: is like,
go ahead,
Johnny. Seems like this is the Johnny spinoff show already, and then it kind of, Della Russo wasn't super much the focus in the beginning, and then he kind of was, But I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to see a spinoff. My favorite guy's Johnny, so
yeah.
I don't know if there's anybody here I'd really, really want to see spun off.
Yeah, I'm not. I kind of don't want to see the show at all. Really, I mean, they need to edge it up a little bit, because that was a problem I had with that show. Is, like I said, it just started to become like an ABC special to me, and I just I was like, this is too goody for me. At first, it felt like it was going somewhere a little bit not darker, but just had a funnier, meaner tone. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh my gosh, guys, family, blah, blah, blah. And that's great and all. That's great, because that's what the originals were about, like helping your family, helping your friends, all that stuff. But I don't know. It's just, to me, it just got too cutesy, and I just gave up on it. It didn't feel like.
Well, it gets darker. So they bring in, Terry Silver, and then, Kreese is up to all kinds of shenanigans, and it does get some dark, serious stuff. So I think you should, keep on keeping on. Yeah.
Let me ask, who hasn't watched this show yet? I've been, even though I kind of know I don't need to, I sort of want to go back and revisit the original movies before.
Yeah.
And is that something you would really need to do? Because I think you could.
No, because literally they show flashback straight from the show, and you're like, oh, okay. But I mean, it doesn't hurt. I mean, you only have like 3 movies, and like the Hilary Swank one has not been addressed. Like, if that's gonna ever, come into play, or like if she's ever going to show up as a character.
Well, they didn't want to show, like in later tournaments, she fell on a chair and broke her neck. So
yeah. So if you've seen $1 Million Baby, the sequel to Karate Kid 4,
$1 Million,
you know what happens.
Yes. So, and so that movie Boys Don't Cry, that wasn't in the Karate Kid universe, right?
No, that was Hilary Swank, not Ralph Macchio.
Yeah,
I get those confused.
It's a common mistake. All right, let's move on from this topic. Let's see. Next, we have Star Trek Discovery. 5th season will be its last. I couldn't bother with this thing.
I say thankfully. That's another show I did not watch one single frame of, because it looked horrible from the get-go. And all new Trek is kind of terrible to me. And I haven't really seen any incentive to even watch Strange New Worlds. People say it's good. I'm like, it still looks like new Trek, so I don't care. I'm only in Picard because of the pure nostalgia run. Mm-hmm. But I took a look at like a image of what the Klingons look like, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening here. I don't know why people seem to not know how to do prequels, how Star Trek is one of those universes now that even in the timeline it's supposed to be the same one with Kirk and all these shows that we know, and not the Kelvin thing. At least I think. I don't know why. It just looked like so many contradictory things. I'm like, no. I just can't.
Yeah, I've only seen the first episode of Strange New Worlds, because that was the one that I was kind of interested in, and I couldn't be bothered. The thing that got me was at the end of the episode, the episode, they ended up at this planet where they developed a warp bomb by looking at stuff that somehow looking through a wormhole or something, and they saw Earth, and that's how they figured out how to make that bomb. And then at the end, Captain Pike is like, "Oh, I'm going to go show those people what happens if you follow on this path." And it was like all these clips from January 6th. And he was talking about like the Civil War that happened in America. And I was like, I'm out. This crap right here is like, it just puts me out of this.
That's dumb for a lot of reasons. And like, first of all, Star Trek is the original political show, so it being political is not an issue. But
yeah, but it made up its own politics. Like with the first episode,
yeah,
I think it's the first episode where Q shows up. They travel back into, or doesn't he like take him back into Earth's past? And everybody's like doing that drug where they inhale it, and that's how they control the population. And like all the cops have like guns on their hands, and there's like these like kangaroo courts that they execute people in. I thought
it's like when I hear warp. No, I haven't seen the episodes, I guess, to be fair. But when I hear like warp bomb and stuff like that, I'm like, you're going out of your way to show January 6th. And so this is the showrunners saying this is our politics. And we're going to shoehorn it in here.
Yeah.
And was it not a major event in U.S. history? I mean, yes, it is. But thing is, this is Star Trek, and they had a very specific history that they should be talking about the eugenics war. I mean, this is their own canon.
Yeah.
Like, even Picard season 2 kind of forgot about that. Or maybe in DS9, like the Bell Riots or something. And like, this is my problem with a lot of prequels, especially Star Trek. I'm like, you seem like the showrunners don't watch their own shows.
Oh, I think they actively dislike it.
And I've noticed that kind of thing across fandom is, and hating their own fans, which I kind of get to an extent, because us fans, sometimes we can have horrible taste. I've seen I've been a self-hating nerd a lot, because I see, like, I mean, the Snyderverse alone is enough for me to like don't listen to us. Sonic the Hedgehog should still look stupid. Don't people bully you. I'm like, no, like, so as much as I want faithful adaptations, sometimes I'm like, you know what? We kind of deserve this for being dumb. And this is one of the times where I'm like, yes, I kind of get the whole hating your own fans thing, but this is just stupid. It makes me think you don't care about Star Trek. And so I'm like, well, why should I care about your show? To me, this is just some other thing that I don't have to watch. And if I want Star Trek, I'll either watch the old things, and not all of Star Trek. Not like, there's been plenty of stupid Trek. You know what I mean? We've seen silly Trek, but I'm like, I mean, season 1 of Star Trek: The Next Generation, men are wearing dresses and things. It looks stupid. And, you know, it's like, you'd have to be a pretty hardcore fan to not just skip past like seasons 1 and season 2 has some gems, but I could understand if you want to pass and just go straight to season 3. Deep Space Nine, which I love, the first couple of seasons were a bit rough. So and Voyager was completely passable. So I'm like, there's been bad Trek before, but when they just actively ignore their decades worth of canon, to me, it's like, well, I'm going to ignore your show. So, you know,
yeah, I agree.
It contradict itself. Klingons' foreheads alone or its own thing. But yeah, for numerous reasons, that is irritating and enough for me to skip the entire show.
I agree. What do you think, Bodz? You're a Trekkie too. You got to chime in here.
I was like you. I wanted to watch the new one with Pike, because I actually like Pike. I like the idea of Pike because you know, I remember watching the Cage, the Menagerie, like with the original pilot with him. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, that's a pretty cool character that they just kind of get rid of after Kirk. And they, you know, in the old show, they mention him later and he's in a beeping wheelchair kind of situation, which I guess that's the best technology they have in futures. Beep once for yes, or, you know, but you just can't make them. And I think they were making fun of is that episode of Star Trek. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of wanted to get into the new one, but I just haven't. And Picard, I was watching it along with No H in the beginning, and then I fell so far behind in 2. It's just, I don't know. It's not the same. And I was the kid that super nerdy that would have like the Playmates action figures of Star Trek. And
I remember going to your house.
I had it all.
We had a lot.
Yeah, so many Star Trek toys, and you'd go over to Bod's house. This is like one of the first times I went over to his house, and he's like, "All right, we're gonna play Star Trek," and I'm like, "I'm down. That's awesome. I love Star Trek." And then I go, "I'll be the Klingons," and he's like, he goes, "I'll be the Federation," and I go, "Oh, then I'll be the Klingons." He's, "Oh no, you're not gonna be the Klingons. They're too cool. You have to be the Ferengi." And so I had to play this Ferengi, and I was like, "What the hell?" Yeah, he's like, "No,
I would do crap like that."
Yeah, I'll be both these guys. both these races, now you have to be the money grubbing one that looks like, I mean, the car door ear money grubbing one. And I was like, okay, I guess whatever.
Yeah, I was very, very bossy child. I was like, this is how we're playing.
Oh yeah.
I just was like that.
Yeah.
I remember
See that a lot in my daughter now. So
I remember that we had a bunch of them growing up. I remember being annoyed that the Riker one had battle damage. I'm like,
yes.
Come on.
Yeah, like already had battle damage. You couldn't have a clean suit, right?
This is so. If you listen to the past two episodes, Dear Mutants at Home, you would probably gather the fact that now that we ultimately prefer regular action figures that look like they do on the darn show or movie.
Yeah.
Special paint job. I just want normal.
Yeah, you can make a variant one, but I'm not buying that one.
You know what
I want the normal one
about the Playmates figures is it seemed to me at least that the legs, even if it was Ninja Turtles or if it was Star Trek, it was always the legs were short. Like,
yeah, they all had that same body type.
Yeah.
Even the Dick Tracy figures the exact same way. We're like, they had the squatty little legs, and they're like, no one's built like that.
Everybody was like a homunculus.
They're all built like Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
They're all built like Ninja Turtles.
We've been living on Jupiter for a while, so we've shrunken the legs and lifted the arms. I don't know what that was about. It was really weird, though. That was kind of a Playmates thing. I think that was their sculpt, and they were sticking with it.
Yeah, this is how humans look.
I'm not going to mourn the passing of this. I'm not going to mourn the passing of any Kurtzman Trek. Everybody's that is talking about how the Picard show is doing better, but I think that's because as far as I know, he's about to lose all this stuff, about to lose the license on all this, and Secret Hideout's going to have to go, somewhere else because he screwed up this Trek thing so bad. And I don't know how you screw up Trek. If you even made it like 10% better than Next Generation or the original Trek, people would just mob you for autographs and to throw roses at you. The Trekkies love that shit. So I don't understand how you screw this up. Really, I just don't get it.
To me, it one look at it, I'm like, it's drifting. So it's like Trek not wanting to be Trek. It's so like this ain't your daddy's Trek. It's like it's Trek wanting to look like something it's not. And to me, I'm like, okay, so J.J. Abrams made a good movie over 10 years ago, and we're still chasing that. And with lens flares and this and all of this, the settings on this bridge is like, it's so dark. And I'm like, okay, maybe, we have higher def camera equipment so you can pick up on little details and maybe want to like hide some cheap things. But I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes you cannot see what's going on the bridge, at least in Picard. And I'm like, if it's at nighttime or they're in red alert, okay, maybe. But it really, even back in the movies, like in Generations, when that movie came out, it was jarring to see how much darker the bridge. They have like the movie lighting now, and the light it kind of fluctuated. If you're watching like one of the TV series like Voyager or Enterprise or something, they have like more regular TV lighting. It's cheaper and brighter. But when I'm looking at it now, I'm like borderline unrecognizable. And Star Trek will go through styles, like you said, like the beep boop, the hard buttons. Like, okay, so in all the prequels that came after it, the technology was so much better. We had this weird phase where we just downgraded everything in the and through the 70s and stuff like that. So Starfleet hit some hard times. And now we're kind of back and everything's super dark. I'm like, I don't know what this show even is anymore. And I have to go to the Orville to watch Honest to Good, like Trek, It's bright, it's more fun, it's more thought-provoking, and now it's like, if you have like an in-universe explanation, which kind of they do, but I don't know, maybe on like a real naval vessel, maybe the bridge is super dark. I'm like, well, okay, that's great, but in Star Trek, it's just odd. It's not like the worst.
You're right, that's just moody lighting from movies is all it is. You need that like high level ambiance, and they pride themselves in that, which is fine for a movie, but it doesn't work for the TV shows.
in universe, it's just weird. I mean, it's just not the strangest thing that's happened on these shows, but it's just a little bizarre and a little.
I really hope this doesn't mean they're going to do movies.
No, I
hope there's no Star Trek Discovery, something, I don't know, whatever the tagline will be at the bottom. If they try to transition these into film, I'm like, oh God.
Yeah. Well, but the guy hasn't had great luck with movies. This is the guy who wanted to do The Mummy with Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah.
Killing the Dark Universe before it even started. How you can just let a franchise die on the table and then get handed one of the most beloved and famous ones. I don't know how that happened. Like, I don't know how you say, like, hey, you know what? How you have guaranteed money maker at the box office, Tom Cruise and Russell Crowe and all these people, and then just have that be a complete bomb. You know what? Here are the keys to the freaking Starship Enterprise. Mm-hmm. Have at it, pal.
I don't know. There must have been some under the table negotiations, if you know what I mean.
I do.
I don't. But I don't. The only thing that I thought was kind of cool is this. So some of the ship designs, like yesterday, I saw the new ship from McFarlane. I guess it's a Titan class.
The Neo Constitution.
Yeah, it is beautiful, dude. That Shangri-La class is so awesome looking. It's like that got the classic saucer design. I absolutely love that, and that kind of stuff I think is cool. But the rest of it can just that can just go.
You know what's weird about that? I don't want to spend too much time on this, but they say it's the Neo Constitution class or something. It's the refit of the Titan that was Riker's vessel at the end of Star Trek.
It doesn't look anything like it though.
Like at the end of
what is it? The Next Generation design, and this one's kind of going back to. Isn't it going back more to the original Trek design?
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of like the Titan was introduced at the end, in this live action anyway, at the end of the 2002 movie Nemesis. Riker gets his own ship. Okay, cool. And I'm like, ships get refitted, but this is like a completely different ship. I'm like, did they just completely just dismantle this one vessel, this one starship, and just remake a new one? But Picard season 3 is all about rehashing old stuff, which at this point I've seen what your new stuff is, and so I'm just want the full-on nostalgia trip. Let's just play the hits, you know.
We can all hope. Just pray to the Trek gods, and maybe it'll happen.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next topic. Clancy Brown will be playing Salvatore Maroni as he joins the cast of Penguin on HBO Max. I didn't even know they were making a show. I just don't know anything about that. I really was out of the loop. I was like, Penguin? You mean the Penguin that was in the Batman, the recent Batman movie? They're just doing a show called Penguin. Is it going to be like? Is it going to be like what was that other show, The Sopranos? I don't understand how you make a show about Penguin.
Probably it's probably going to be like his rise to, you know, because you saw the Batman. He's not like really the top guy there. Probably like his rise and stuff in Gotham Underworld, I would assume. And I know because I actually write for HBO. So you heard it here first, folks. No.
I think, as far as Clancy Brown, I mean, I like Clancy Brown in anything. So the only thing really to discuss there is just his performance is going to be good. I mean, he's just like the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm just hoping for like Salvatore Maroni as Mr. Krabs, and I'll be happy.
Or as Lex Luthor from the animated show.
That's true. Yeah. He's like, be like Mercy.
Yeah.
He did a good job as Lex. To be honest, and that's like a kind of a glaring miscast in the past. Like I really hated whenever they had that one guy, Jesse Eisenberg or whatever his name is.
Yeah, that was.
I was like, what is this? I did not get it.
Clancy Brown has done a lot of DC stuff. He was on the Flash show. He had a role there. And so he's no stranger to sci-fi related things. Like I remember back in the day, he was on the
Earth 2. Yeah. He was my favorite guy on Earth 2.
And Starship Troopers, I want to say.
Yeah. He was awesome.
But as far as having a show, to me, it's like, you know, I think it's just based because how good Colin Farrell was. His performance is so good. And I'm like, I mean, I'll enjoy his performance, but man, I don't need another Batman without Batman show.
Exactly.
Well, they were going to do that, the Gotham police show. I don't know if that's even on the table anymore with all the change ups and DC, James Gunn.
There's been some comics that have been really like fun. I like them a lot, but I'm like, again, I don't know if I'm really excited to watch like a show about that. Comic is one thing, but you start making a show, I'm like, I don't know, man.
I mean, it's gonna be really intriguing. They're gonna have to do something really crazy for me to care, because it just seems like it's. I didn't even watch the Gotham show because I saw in one episode, like part of an episode, and I couldn't even watch it all the way through. I'm like, there's no Batman. What's the point? I don't know. I was like, I don't get.
Yeah.
This. I saw Jada Pinkett Smith griping a bit, and I was like, you know what? I'm out.
That's the thing about all these things recently. It's like, let's just do something Batman without Batman, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants, Gotham without Batman, or Gotham Knights video game without Batman, or the new Gotham CW show without Batman. It's I
don't know how you pitch these shows. You're like, hey guys, we're doing this show that's in Batman's universe, but guess what? No Batman. And they're like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. That sounds retarded to me. Like,
where is he? He's dead. It's always like, and Batman's dead.
He's dead. It's like whenever they did that video game, The Force Unleashed is what I believe it was. They were the original pitch was not that. They said they were pitching this to George Lucas at the time. They said, hey, we have this idea for a video game where you're on Kashyyyk and you play as a Wookiee army, and you're this one particular Wookiee, and blah blah blah. And he's sitting there listening to this, George Lucas, and he goes, is this it really, a Wookiee game? Like, you have Jedis and stuff, why would you go for the Wookiees? And they're like, oh okay. And so then that's when they started to pitch The Force Unleashed, and that's when he was like, oh yeah, that's better, but
Wookiee, that's way better.
Yeah So
I get it. And the thing, the extended Bat universe, again, there has been some really awesome comics, but whenever there's a show, I just start thinking about the time and effort and money, resources it takes to make one of these things. I'm like, is this really the best way to, spend all these things?
I guess Gotham must have been a success, because that's the only reason you get this kind of crap. I don't know.
It lasted a while, that's for sure.
Good luck to Clancy Brown, and good luck to Colin Farrell, because, I just wish him luck.
He did.
All right, next topic is comic book movie news now. We're talking about Hellboy. Let's move over. Let's not do this again. Let's move over to this. Okay. Clancy Brown. Sorry, we're not talking about Clancy Brown. Hellboy, the Crooked Man, is now a reboot of the series. It's cast. It's Hellboy. Oh, go ahead.
Sounds like you said Rudy Boot, and that's what I just want that.
You want Rudy Boot? Okay, we'll start calling it that from Rudy Boot. Anyways, Hellboy the Crooked Man is a Rudy Boot.
That's a Rudy Boot of a Rudy Boot, I believe.
Yeah, yes, it is. It casts Jack Kesey as Hellboy. I don't know who he is, but that's actually him right there. Bodz, you said he's Black Tom or something like that.
Yeah, Black Tom Cassidy in Deadpool 2.
Gosh,
that's really all I know him from.
The lack of costumes in that movie, other than Deadpool, kind of really threw me off.
He was in jail, so he didn't have time to have a costume.
I know. I'm just saying the lack of costumes. That I think that's why that's why comics are comics, because to a kid, it's like if you watch the old Scooby-Doo, and like everybody's wearing the same clothes all the time, and that's very recognizable as that character. And it's the same reason comic books do the same thing. They're like, hey, well, every time they see Superman, he's wearing this, they're going to recognize him immediately. And that's why I have sometimes trouble with movies where like they'll have like a costume that's, not vastly different, but pretty different. I'll go, oh, who is that? So
yeah, I remember when we went to go see Schindler's List and he changed clothes and where'd Schindler go? Where's Schindler?
I don't even know why I talked to you. I don't even know why we brought you on this. But
I've actually never seen Schindler's List. That's the next live stream.
There you go. That would put the butts in the seats. I'll tell you what. I guess I've seen him on film before, but I just don't know enough about this guy. I kind of wondered what he was going to look like as Hellboy, and so wondered no more, because I actually went in and I photoshopped him as Hellboy to kind of give us an idea of what he would look like.
Well, there you go. Spot on, Hellboy.
I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, he looks like he could be a pretty good Hellboy. I mean,
so if it's this, yeah, I mean, if you're going with that, you're just saying anybody who paints himself red and has chopped off horns would be a Hellboy.
Yeah. Well, no, not everybody, because you can just be. I mean, if you were a
British 8-year-old girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, you can be Hellboy. You just couldn't be Hellboy. So I just don't get the.
I mean, I get why they're not using Ron Perlman anymore. He's like getting up there, but
he's
like
old now.
And then I mean, David Harbour was the last one. I was like, why aren't you just doing another with him? Was that bad a movie?
Well, I think it was,
see it or
yeah, I think it was really bad.
Oh,
I bet you money they dropped the budget on this one.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't look like a bad Hellboy. He looked good in the part. I just don't know,
They're just trying to get a younger guy who's probably more buff, and they don't have to put so much prosthetics on it. Because I can just imagine. I don't think David Harbour is the nicest guy to work with, and you put him in like 6 hours with the makeup, and I'm sure he's no better. So
it's a little cranky.
Yeah, it's a little cranky because if you notice, like in the last 2 seasons, I think of Stranger Things, he's been away from the cast for the most part, and I think it's because he does. They're like, well, he doesn't really want to do it. We'll have to film this like close to where he is, or because I believe he lives in the UK. And I think that, and he said he's glad to see the show ending finally in the next season. So I'm like,
yeah,
he's the nicest chap to work with.
Maybe
might be too expensive too, because the last movie's budget for the special effects was apparently used to pay David Harbour, because everybody talked about how horrible the special effects were in that movie.
Or that show, that season?
Or
Hellboy. No, Hellboy. That's the Hellboy movie.
Oh, Hellboy itself.
Yeah,
okay.
Talked about how absolutely dreadful the special effects were, and I have a sinking suspicion that is due to him. He was paid more, and then we got to take the money from somewhere, and so they didn't pay the animators as much, so you get these little crappy effects, for your money. So that's probably why they picked a lesser known guy too.
If
maybe,
I could. Yeah, I think he would be cool, but man, he's ancient too. Anytime I see Clancy Brown and something now, I'm like, good that he's still around doing things.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know, man. The interest in Hellboy to me is not quite there. I really like the first one. The second one is fine.
Yeah.
Any revisit, I'm like, I mean, it's one of I look at it as like just one of the many things that's going to get rebooted, because everything does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a prime example of that.
You get about 10 years of time to be the character you want to be, and then you're out. It's just
unless you're Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, the comic book characters might not grow old, but you do.
Yeah,
I don't know. I wasn't really ever interested in the comic as a kid. I mean, I believe Hellboy started around the 90s, or the late 90s. And just so I don't have like a lot of nostalgia for the character, and this is one of those people that they could cast pretty much whoever they want. But all right, yeah.
I'm kind of with John, where I liked the movie when it first came out, and I think John, didn't we go to like the midnight screening of that back in the day when we used to do all of that?
Like we did.
Yeah. So we're excited then, and the first 2 were pretty good. The first one especially, but. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not, the biggest Hellboy fan, so I'm not super excited.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's just, clamoring for more Hellboy. I mean, and besides, like, Ron Perlman's performance had such a lasting impression. I mean, like, he owned it so much that without I'm like.
Ron Perlman has to be the opposite of David Harbour in the makeup aspect. He's like, yeah, get that makeup on me. Get that makeup on me. Because, he was Beauty and the Beast back in the day, in the
no shit.
The CBS show. He's like, he probably was super jazzed in like Sons of Anarchy. Oh, I get to show my face. Oh, no, this is awesome. But if you sure you don't need any prosthetics, I'll do it.
Yeah. But I'm right here with you guys. Go ahead.
I'm right here.
Suit me up.
And that one Highlander, the series he was on, he didn't wear makeup. So
let's move on from this topic to a topic that we are, well, at least me and Bodz are way bigger fans of: the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yay!
Oops, that's the wrong one.
Brown plays them all.
Oh no, that's the wrong one too. Let's just move over to a different feed. Here we go. So y'all still not gonna be able to hear the sound. You just be able to get until I get the sound fixed. This is the trailer to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I guess we're only going to be able to speak to the actual visuals here, and hopefully it doesn't get copyright botted before. So you.
Well, I watched it beforehand, so I know. This. I've heard the voices.
Yeah. Have you seen it at all, No H?
I've seen little clips here and there and still frames, and I may be okay that I don't hear it.
Okay. There we go. So this movie reminds me heavily of the Spider-Man Miles Morales into the Spider-Verse. That's what it.
Yeah, I'm like, is it by the same animators or what? Because I thought the same thing.
I don't know that, but I would guess that it is because it borrows heavily from the idea that they use that weird animation where they
choppy.
They skip the keyframes.
It's like choppy.
It's like all on 2s or all on 4s. I don't know what it is, but they lower the frame rate and it makes everything look like jumpy, which is fine. I mean, it's a style choice.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that they have this. Let me move this to the top because that looks terrible. Let's move it above the scratches. The art style is cool though. This cool, like I don't know if it's gouache or like it's supposed to be like mixed media. I think that looks pretty cool, but the voices, not so much.
Here's the thing with the voices. I was thinking they do sound young. I guess they do sound like teenagers. I mean, very young teenagers. But remember, is it twinks in this one? No, it says teenagers.
The tweenagers.
I don't know if I'd use that term, but. But
no,
I like that part.
There's certain
ooze.
There's certain things that I've noticed they've gone with that have kind of popped up recently, like the Raphael's bandana going over the whole head. That was kind of something that's been recent. Donatello has, which is fine, just little add-on to things. Michelangelo does sound the youngest. And he's the small, so you might well be.
I thought Donatello sounded the youngest. It's the same kid who played Gumball on the Gumball show.
Oh yeah,
he's got
really that does sound
like voice hasn't changed.
When he screams and stuff. Yeah.
And that's why I think they hired that kid is because they wanted that scream because in the video he gets. In this video, he gets hit in the leg with one of the sides, and I'm like, they picked that kid because he was going to be the screaming nerd in this thing, and that's fine. I mean, it looks. I mean, I like the way it looks. The art is solid. I do not care for this constant swapping of like hair color and race of April O'Neil. I did not like Megan Fox as April O'Neil. And I didn't like, I guess the recent cartoon, they race swapped her, and now they race swap. I guess this isn't really a race swap at this point. It's just kind of carrying on what the new cartoon did. And I'm just like, we just like, if you're looking for a minority, look no further than the redhead. They are the biggest. I mean, they're the smallest minority on the planet. And I don't know why that you need to change them. It seems like everybody's changing, like Ariel, Starfire, and now April O'Neil, and it's like, come on, can the
she is O'Neil, so she's obviously Irish. It's O'Neil.
It's Shaquille O'Neal, and makes sense now.
And I read,
but here's something.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I think you're about to bring up the same point I was about to bring up. So go ahead.
Well, I think I read something about Peter Laird. The reason why April O'Neil is redhead is I believe his wife is redhead, and he could kind of always envisioned her as being a redhead like his wife. So I'm like,
well, that's the thing.
Well,
so here's the annoying part about this. The race swap by itself is only because it's odd that it's a lot of gingers getting replaced. That's just very bizarre to me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole other, like, do people just really hate gingers that much? Like, what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised Raphael isn't just changing his color, you know what I mean? Like, just to stay safe. But the thing that's really irritating about it is because I really think it's sort of purposely antagonistic and it's divisive. And because every time I see something like this, it's not like, hey, anybody can be anything. It's all about the love of the thing, and we want to make sure everybody can watch this. What I mainly see is like, you don't like it, don't watch it. I'm like, good grief. We didn't say anything. You just automatically assume that we're going to hate this. And you know what? I don't like being, it's like immediately accused of something. I'm like, and that's only going to create
there he is.
disinterest.
The baby turtles.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, one thing I read a while back was that, like, if you read the old, kitchen sink comics back in the day, like the original ones, like whether it's a graphic novel form, which I think most of them probably have online, it's black and white. They colorized them later. I think Mirage ended up buying the kitchen sink. Was what they started.
I think that was after.
And then Mirage bought it.
Kevin Eastman's project, I believe.
Oh, okay.
He did that one.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless or irregardless, they were black and white originally. So they had April on there, and she had curly hair. And since it's black and white, they didn't say, "Hey, is she black or white?" They did. People theorized about them. They were supposed to be black, but later on it was colorized, and obviously she wasn't.
Well,
but
if you make let's say you make the claim that she was black in the comic, and they had always intended her to be that, because what I heard from that was the rumblings were about the perm. They're like, oh well, look at her hair. And what people
like, but it's like, that was a hairstyle.
All the girls were wearing their hair in perms. They
and that's the thing. That's what really gets me is people who these probably younger than we are. They are not middle-aged, I would assume. Probably going through the archives, digging through anything they think they can find as some type of proof. And I've seen this a lot on Twitter where people like, see, she was always meant to be black or whatever. I'm like, I mean, you would have to ask the creators themselves, but my understanding is, like we said, it's based on his wife at the time anyway. Mm-hmm. A lot of ladies wore perms back in the day. And I'm like, that shouldn't, the feeling of authority and supremacy these fake nerds get from trying to point this out. I'm like, first of all, it's not entirely factual. And even so, that kind of doesn't matter because this is going to be what it is no matter what. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's easily disproven. Like if you go and look at the books, the original books, Baxter Stockman is in, I believe, the first set of 5 or 10. I think the first set collects. I think it might be the first 5 books or something like that. Baxter Stockman
I think so.
And he's black. He was never supposed to be race swapped in the second movie. He is black, and so and even in the cartoon, I believe they made him white as well. But
he was. If they made him get a ginger.
That's right. He was because he had red hair. But anywho, so Baxter Stockman is in the comic, and he is shaded far differently than April and he actually looks black in the comic. You can tell the difference between him and other characters. So it's easily disproven. You're like, yeah, she's not black, dude. Look, and plus, whenever they did the colorized versions, the covers, she's not black there either, and that's fine. At this point, there's nothing we can do about it. They can do whatever. Nickelodeon owns the property. They can do whatever they want, and if that helps them, I just feel bad for all the gingers of the world because they don't get to have anybody anymore.
Yeah,
there's nobody. It's like, yep.
And Ty has a ginger beard, so that's where he gets really
my dad was
upset about these things.
My dad was redhead, so my facial hair comes out red, and it's very, very strange.
Ty's beard will be recast.
Well, plus my wife is redhead, so it's like
Well, soon enough, it's going to be replaced too. They'll all get replaced.
Yeah, one day I walk in and she's like, it's like some other lady just completely. I'm like, what's going on here? What's? All
right, it starts with a perm. So she said, I'm gonna go get a perm. You're like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And then the next point, perms, cultural appropriation? Question mark.
Did anyone have? I don't know.
I think the biggest thing about this trailer that's missing is Casey Jones. There, I said it. It needs more Casey Jones.
That could be something they're kind of holding close to the vest. They haven't released yet. Because let me go to their IMDb. Teenage.
I doubt it. He wasn't in the first new movie that came out.
And let's see if there's anybody in here. Oh God, John Cena. Holy crap.
Yes.
Yay.
Amazing.
He's like, I think he's Rocksteady or Bebop.
Well, this Giancarlo Esposito is Baxter Stockman. That's great. I hate Seth Rogen so much. I hate that he's like the head of this. That just annoys the crap out of me.
Wait, who's Paul Rudd?
Paul Rudd, he is Mondo Gecko. Yay, I love Mondo Gecko. And
that's cool.
I really am glad about this. Post Malone's gonna play Ray Fillet. That's awesome.
That's cool.
That's awesome. So I don't know about Ice Cube. He's just gonna be angry, I guess. And Wingnut is a girl, apparently, as far as I knew. Well, hold on a second.
Well,
Is
Wingnut.
there Screw Loose?
Yeah, Wingnut and Screw Loose. That wasn't that like his mosquito friend.
Yeah, it's like they're like little teammates.
Might be a girl because on the game that I played recently, the Shredder's Revenge, it does sound very high pitched. So I'm wondering if it might be they could be just casting a male character as a girl just because of the high voice. I'm not sure.
But that's a good point about Seth Rogen though, because I'm like, it reminds me of how Kevin Smith gets put in charge of these things, and I'm like, my fandom of Kevin Smith just dissolved into like nothing.
Yeah.
Over the years, and I'm like, I don't know, man. These people, like, just because they're famous, basically, like, I don't really want them in charge of these things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're like a famous name. Like, I know who that is, so I'm going to check this out. I think that's what I get from that. But and it's kind of like Hellboy. This to me, it's like the latest. Like, it's been a month. Here's a new version of the turtle.
Yeah.
Rose Byrne is playing Leatherhead. I cannot wait to hear her. I cannot wait to hear her Cajun accent, because that's something big about Leatherhead. He's, I guarantee.
Yeah. I guarantee.
I wonder about that. But
I didn't watch the last iteration of Turtles cartoons I was on, but me and my son went through all of the 2012, I want to say one. Ty, you at least started watching it.
I went through.
It was good.
2 seasons. It's genuinely a good show, and it's a little way more faithful to the comic.
To the comic, they were going.
The Krang was very similar to the.
Yeah, they were more the Utahs instead of just the Krang. So I need to finish the series, but I remember liking what I was seeing. I was like, oh yeah, they're really trying on this. This is great. I actually really liked that show.
I don't. Here's one. Not just that April O'Neil gets race swapped all the time. She's too young. They make her too young and stuff. Because
they did make her really young in the show. And same with Casey Jones on the 2012 one.
Yeah.
They made him really
understand about her being young is, to me, she's supposed to be kind of like a mother figure that they didn't have, because they have a father figure in Splinter.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's comes in, and I always think of her as like, she's a friend, but she's also a mother figure to these kids, basically. And I don't know if that was a design idea by Eastman and Laird, but that's something I find missing when she's a contemporary. I'm like, okay, this is not her. She's not supposed to be buddy. She's supposed to be kind of like, you kids, you be careful, but they never use her as that anymore. And so
they all kind of had a role, like they had like the peripheral characters had a role. Like Casey Jones' role was to have a friendship with Raphael, so the character who couldn't get along with any of the turtles has a friend outside of the turtles,
Because
it's
just as violent and angry.
And I found someone I connect with, and that's the thing, is that's things I hope that go away in these things, is like they actually had connections with, like, Master Splinter and April, like you said, and Casey.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't have high hopes for this. I'm gonna go into this like, lowest expectations possible, because I kind of get the woke feeling here. Oh, Jackie Chan is now Master Splinter. I thought that was supposed to be the guy from the Monk Show? Or am I thinking of
Tony Shalhoub?
That was isn't that the live action version?
Maybe that was in the last show they did. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah,
you're
Phil's
right. That was Tony Shalhoub. That's why I think it's Tony Shalhoub, because it's in the movie.
Yeah.
God, those movies, dude. Oh shoot, I cannot. That is some terrible, terrible filmmaking right there. And again, hate April O'Neil in there. I do not care for her being a black-haired girl. I'm like, just come on. There's plenty of redheads in Hollywood.
It's like the lesson from the Transformers movie was not learned. That's what that.
Nope.
Well, or
funny is like by the second one, I was starting to enjoy it more, but then that was just the end. It's like, man, we're not going to do anything else.
The basketball thing at the beginning I thought was fun, but the I don't know. I think it's what happens in those movies is they have relied so heavily on the special effects that they're like, well, our budget is this, and we need more just human shots because we can't fill it with the Ninja Turtles. That would be too expensive. And it's the same thing with Transformers. That's why you got these actors in here, because they need to fill up time when you can't show a Transformer because of cost reasons, I guess.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm like, that's the problem I have is whenever you watch the cartoon, it was more Transformer than anything. You would occasionally see human people interact. So I do not like these new movies where it's just like, oh, let's go talk to Mark Wahlberg for 30 minutes. Oh, let's talk to what's his name from the first movie, the kid that was on The Mutt. Forget his name every time. Shia
LaBeouf. Yeah.
Let's go talk to him for a while.
That kind of, as we're older and we realize movies have budgets and they cost things. I mean, while there's not a Transformer there all the time, kind of like when we were kids, you watch the old Master of the Universe movie, like, well, we're going to go to Earth instead of Eternia because it's cheaper. But as a kid, you're just like, well, I guess we're just going there. You didn't know the difference.
Which actually, and since Jackie Chan is playing Splinter, I guess Jaden Smith is going to be one of the Turtles now. Is he?
Yep, he's part of that universe, not the Miyagi universe, but the Jackie Chan universe.
Well, it's something that taking it back to Star Trek a bit here. I think I realized because Star Trek season 2 did a time travel thing. It was bad, but I think I know why a lot of these shows are going to Earth and things like that, because it's a lot cheaper to film.
Oh, yeah.
Something that takes place in present day or something.
Yeah.
The
Voyage Home, man, that's all budget right there.
All cost.
Yeah, and that is my favorite. My blue favorite.
The double dumb.
And anyone who says, double dumbass on you if you think. So.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite ones. I still like Undiscovered Country the best because I
like that one a lot too.
It mixes two things I really like: Star Trek and murder mystery kind of a vibe.
Oh really that was like who cleaned the Klingon that was murdered. No, that was a good one. But which one was that? Was that 5 or 6?
It was
6.
6. Okay, so that falls into like the every other one being good. Like all the even ones are good, and the odd ones are bad.
Every other Batman, every other Star Trek is shit. That was famously said by who was.
I remember when I was a kid thinking like the 5th one was the final frontier. Well, they call it final. This is the last one.
Yeah.
You would think so.
I think they had intended, but since what's his name?
It was directed by Shatner and ended up not being that great. So.
Written by Shatner too. That was it's like they go, hey, and let me say this up front. I love Shatner. He is a great person.
Mm-hmm.
When you see his stuff that he writes online, I'm like, God bless you, man. God bless you for being who you are. But he can't write to save his life. Tech Wars. And then my goodness. And I'm like, let's let Leonard Nimoy write some Trek. And when he did 6 Undiscovered Country, I think he got it a little bit better. And his is, to me, that's my favorite one. Everybody talks Wrath of Khan, and I agree. Wrath of Khan is fun. I like it.
Yeah.
I really like
good movie.
I like the premise. I was a kid when that came out, and I absolutely adored it. I in kindergarten used to draw Star Trek all the time because I loved it. But when I got older, Undiscovered Country, I think, is way. I think
Wrath of Khan is like, of course, but I think it gets revisited a little too much, and this current season of Picard is doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the one that was like, because that had all the tie-ins to the eugenic wars and all that stuff, the things we really wanted to see. But like the Clone Wars, we're not going to show you it unless you watch all the little animated things. But the movies, no, we'll just talk about it.
Yeah.
But as far as this latest, when I look at this, really any iteration of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, whatever, I think sometimes I look at these things, I'm like, I hope whoever this is for enjoys this, because I'm just like, it's not for me. And I'm like, at this point, you can't help but be a little numb to the latest Turtles. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
I'm like, they would just remake these things until the end of time, and they're going to make them, and they have to differentiate themselves from themselves. So, it's just going to be something brand new and unrecognized.
I just don't think that the one you bring up a point that I forgot to make. I don't. So it gets remade just about every generation. It's like the kids get a version of the Turtles. I think it does not work outside of the 80s, because if you live in the world like this, a contemporary world with cell phones and smartphones and stuff, the Turtles doesn't work, because they would easily be found out. They'd be like, oh, look, I took a picture of them, I followed them, I took this video. And it just seems to me they work better in the 80s when they can like actually live in the shadows. I don't know. I think they should have took this back. That's one thing I would say. They should have took this back to the 80s. I think I would enjoy it more. But yeah, no, I don't know. We'll see. I've been surprised before. Well, that TV show on Nickelodeon totally took me by surprise. So maybe this will too. All right, let's move on. Go ahead, Bodz. You had more?
No, I was going to say, since I have kids, I obviously will be going to see this, so I'll let you know.
No, I'm going to watch this too. I'm going to watch this and the Super Mario Brothers, because that's my jam. But
cool.
I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be like, so I'm going in with low expectations, but maybe it'll surprise me.
I'll say this: they at least look better than the last iteration.
Yeah. Oh wow, they look terrible. Absolutely awful.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next topic, which is we're still talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles here. So let's turn you off, Hellboy. Turn you on. Clancy Brown needs to be turned off too. All right, so here is the last Ronin came out.
And by the way, I'm trying to reread that so I can, talk to you about it. So I had to start all over again because I forgot where I left off. So
okay, I won't. Am I going to give away spoilers? Should we skip this? I don't know.
No, don't skip it. It's okay. I mean, okay. I know what's going on.
Okay, so anyways, we all know who the last Ronin is, and the story ends. Just I don't want to ruin the story for you, but you know what happens at the end?
Well, no, I guess not, but I know that I know these guys.
Okay, so
if you just want to talk about these guys here, okay, I mean, I know about this.
This is a new comic that's coming out. It's called The Last Ronin, the Lost Years, and at the end of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, at the end of Last Ronin, they you see that April O'Neil and her daughter Casey have a little a terrarium full of there's 4 of them, these turtles. And so we're left kind of like, what? I mean, when I read it, I was like, oh, whoa. I was like, did Michelangelo have like babies or what? I didn't know what was going on there, but there's like these 4 turtles in this terrarium. And I'm like, okay, that's cool that she's got her baby turtles. Well, it turns out those were, they're going to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a whole new generation of them. And this is the concept art for them. And as you can see, it's quite different than the original Turtles. I'm not sure that I like it. And I'm pretty sure that one of them is going to be a girl this time. And I think that's probably the idea here, is that they get to like, now they go, oh, because what was her name? Jaden? I can't remember the name. There was Danica, I think it was her name. The girl turtle they brought in, the 5th turtle in the IDW series. I don't think she was
the one who wore yellow bandana, right?
Yellow bandana, exactly. I don't think she was very well received. Well, this gives them the actual chance to put whatever they want, and I'm sure we'll get like a trans turtle or some shit. I don't know. It's gonna be something weird. I'm gonna guess the one on the right is a girl. I'm just gonna guess that ahead. I don't know, but or the one on the left, the little tiny one. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I like the last Ronin. I thought the bad guy was kind of a letdown. The Aruku Hirito or whatever his name is.
The son of
he's like the great grandson of the original Orokosaki.
Okay.
He's I don't know. He's kind of a letdown in the end. I thought that this is your like swan song to the Fabulous Four here, and you're doing it this way. And so I don't know. It's not a bad book. I just wish that it would have had a little bit more gravitas at the end. Like, oh, this is a huge deal, and it just seemed kind of like to peter out for me. You might have a different take on it, Bodz, whenever you read it, but. So this is gonna be basically, let me go back to the article here. I think I have it. Yep, there it is. Let's bring the article up. It's in the browser. So I keep using the wrong screen here. So basically they said it's follows fleshing out 16 missing years between Mikey's brothers' deaths and the events of the original comics. So it's going to be kind of like a lot of flashbacks and I guess new adventures of these new turtles. I have no idea what their names are, but this one has been, I guess, given the blessing because they brought him in by Eastman. So Eastman's helping them plot and write this. So I am, I liked the last Ronin, so I'm kind of hopeful for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. We're gonna have to see. What is your take, Bodz?
I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna give it a shot, but what I kind of feel like is like, do you remember when you had the really cool Dark Knight Returns, and that was like a big thing, and then they started doing like sequels and offshoots that were like inferior compared to that. I kind of feel like this could be that, but I don't know. I'm still gonna give it the benefit of the doubt and read it, but yeah, I think like you said, that was their swan song. It's gonna be hard to like top that, come close.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, plus you're gonna have to build up a lot because that's the problem. Is now you're the following act. And you have to build up all. You can't go back and rely heavily on nostalgia. You will have that will be covered by the flashbacks in this because I don't know if you don't. Hey, you probably never read the last Ronin, but
nope.
They had the original. They had the regular artwork, which was basically Michelangelo going to avenge his brothers by taking out Oroku Hirito, and so. It was just the regular arts, and then they would have these flashbacks of what happened to his brothers, and some of those were drawn by other artists at IDW, but the really cool ones that were like that kind of showed what happened to Mikey himself were done by Kevin Eastman, and this one is a Kevin Eastman as well. And it had this really cool gimmick of like going back and forth between styles, but. Yeah, it's I don't know. Without that nostalgia for these guys, they're gonna have to build that up first. They're gonna have to make you love these guys first, and then and then move from there because you can't just because these aren't the. I mean, what connection do they have to the turtles other than being turtles? And there's they at least should have left Michelangelo around to be their mentor because right now it's going to be Casey Jones. And it's not even the good Casey Jones; it's his daughter. And I thought her name was actually I thought her name was Shadow. I don't get where this Casey. I thought that was her name in the original comic when they had a child. I thought it was Shadow or something like that. But I don't know. This is one of those things that I'm kind of hopeful for. Kind of, it's on the edge of like, wow, this could be really bad, or this could be. Something new,
really good.
This generation of writers, you just can't trust them with anything. You if you think that you're going to get something good out of this, it's more likely that it's going to be bad because now they go, well, we're not constrained by all this BS from the past. We all can't write because we can do whatever we want now. And
like, that's precisely why we're great.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see on this one. I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts on this. I'm guessing Noach, you're not at all a fan of the Ninja Turtles yourself.
I haven't followed anything with Turtles. Like, I would go back and watch the first movie because that was just such a fun time, and that's a fun trip down memory lane. And I remember as a kid, I'd watch the show, had the toys, but it's been so many new versions have come out. I'm like, I don't know. It just hasn't really captured my imagination from that time.
If you ever get a chance, you might want to read the comics because they get pretty crazy. They're quite. If you can get the Ultimate collections, they're pretty wild. I like reading them every once in a while. They're a little bit, they're of the time. They're 80s comics, which is still better than what we have now. But they're like galaxy hoppers. They travel forward and back in time, and I know that towards the end, it gets really wild. Where like Michelangelo gets some Triceraton pregnant, and they're gonna have, and I'm like, whoa, where did that go? That's apparently part of the Mirage Comics thing, and I'm like, whoa, what the hell? Well, we hadn't visited this, but. It is a wild time to be had. But anyways, let's move on to the next topic, which is Batman number 183. Let's move back to photos. Here we go. Sorry, 133. Okay, so this is a new book that's coming out tomorrow, actually. And it's Batman 133. I have no clue what's going on in the story. I believe this might be an alternate universe. I know the Batman himself is alternate universe in this.
I haven't. I used to read on a regular basis, and then there was like they did some type of change. And I said this in the last episode where I kind of just dropped off. But what I can piece together, this is in some type of alternate version. And when you do an alt take, I'm like, go crazy, I guess. And it looks like that's what they've done. Gone nuts.
And the craziness is this: the found object suit Batman. And I bet you, Bodz, you absolutely like lost your mind when you saw this because this is like your jam.
Bodz, yeah, I could totally make that myself.
Bodz is the ultimate creator of alternate. I mean, I don't know how like bulletproof this thing is or whatever in your costumes that you create are not all that bulletproof, but
turns out they're not.
We've tried.
I'm in the hospital right now.
Yeah. This is from what Joe Quesada. What does he have to do? Oh, he did a cover. Never mind. I thought he was writing. I was like, God, no, don't let him write.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, this was apparently Chip Zdarsky told the artist, he's like, I want to do this like found objects Batman, and he is going to be I guess he's like a poorer version of Batman from another dimension, or not dimension, another universe. And he had to basically put all his costume together. It's like, or he no longer has access to his wealth or something like that. And he had to put this together. So he kind of, let me go back to let's see another picture of this. So I guess this, if I remember right, reading the article, this was Chip Zdarsky's rendition of this, and he's like, well, basically this is what I want, or no, this is Mike Hawthorne's. He actually drew him a sketch, and I believe this is what they came out with it, and it's just a bunch of like, basically it's a lot of stuff that you could find at like a Dick's Sporting Goods or something like that, or a Academy, and that's how he made this Batman. And I don't know, Bodz, you are the costume guy. I don't know what all your take is on this. I didn't know if you'd love it or hate it or what.
I like it. I mean, for what it is, like, that if that's what the storyline is, and he just has to, cobble something together, that's pretty cool. I mean, you get the look. That's a bat suit. You look at it and you go, that's a bat suit. And, kind of reminds me of like Arkham Origins or something, where it was like more armored up and tactical than you streamlined, and you had a lot of money to put into, comparative, the Arkham City and Asylum, and then the Arkham Knight suit, where it looks like he's almost Iron Man at that point. But yeah, no, this is, I mean, for what's going on in that take, that it kind of makes me interested to see what's going on there.
Yeah,
it looks like it's definitely looks like it's kind of co-opting the style or being influenced by the most recent Robert Pattinson Batman.
Oh yeah, definitely look at that collar, John. Like, you're right. Like that's
it seems like it's very much.
And these little like air holes in the helmet makes me think it's kind of some kind of sports helmet that he's attached stuff to.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
But yeah, they were smart enough to like keep some of the elements, like the yellow, the yellow belt with the pouches. I always think that's Coyote Brown or something. I would think it'd be pretty
I that's what I find in real life. If I was putting something together, I'd have to get Coyote yellow or brown, yellowish enough.
Yeah, but anyways.
It looks like the beginning. It looks like at the beginning of the Dark Knight, all the imposter guys. But I'm not wearing hockey pads. It's like all of them.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. It's like, well, you can't say that now, Batman. Hockey pads. Yeah, you are now. You definitely are wearing.
That's all you could afford.
But apparently, he goes and digs himself up in this book, and then Alfred shows up. He's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he says, "Oh, I'm from another universe or whatever." And the fun ensues from there. I don't know. I haven't read any of the Chip Zdarsky stuff, and this art just really this doesn't really do it for me.
It seems like it's it'd be kind of cool, but any alt timeline it's tough for me to really prioritize.
This is mainline Batman though, so this has to be like
the thing is, there was a stretch of the Tom King run where it's like part of the Tom King run I loved, part of it I really didn't like, but there was a stretch where he was in like some long nightmare dream sequence that went on for way too long, killed my interest in that entire run. And so sometimes they do things like that where I'm like, if it doesn't take up too much time, you can do your alternate thing, because that's just something that happens. But anytime I see an alternate thing, I'm like, cool, but I don't know when I'm going to read them.
It's kind of like I want to read just what's going on here to figure out what's going on here because I'm interested in that. But the only way to know for sure if that's like a popular Batman costume is if Todd McFarlane makes an action figure out of it.
I will say, speaking of these, the sculpts and stuff like that, I saw some. I should have sent you the image, and I guess I still could, but via text here. But I will say that the molds of some like DC Direct figures, they don't seem to. I don't have the image, but if you compare them, I will say Todd McFarlane handles the crotch a little better. Because a lot of these action figures, the legs have to go straight up and down. So you have what appears to be this really skinny dong section, and like this.
He's all, make the dong wider. Todd McFarlane, hey, make the dong wider, eh?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
So some of the and some of the crotch in the midsection, they're just, what are you gonna do? They need to be articulated, but they always look so funny. And some of the newer Batman ones I've seen, maybe not all of them, but some of the ones I've seen, I'm like, you got a handle on that crotch.
Someone's been reading Batman Damned.
Yeah, it's like
the bat dong. The bat dong rings for you, Noach, I guess. I don't know. I'm interested, but again, I'm gonna have to wait till this comes out in Omni whenever they're finished with the Zdarsky run. I'm still waiting for them to finish the Daredevil Zdarsky run so that I can get that, because that one I'm kind of interested in too, because it's got that Marzio Chichetto, I think is the artist, and he's pretty good. So I'm waiting for all that to finish up to get it. I'm just I'm just more into the collected editions these days than these singles. But I did find this interesting. I mean, yeah, this is cool. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. It's kind of reminds me.
Hey,
I think
if you look at
go ahead.
Look at the tips of the cape. Now, if you remember remember in Dark Knight Returns, like he had little things on the bottom, like he could hit people with the bottom of the cape.
Yeah, and he said he like laced it with like rattlesnake venom.
Yeah, something like that.
Can you imagine that? You're like the goon, and Batman just kind of whips you with his cape, and you're like, ow, ow. And then like the next day, you're like, oh my God, what's going on here? It's like necrosis.
Do I need to go to the doctor?
I think I should go to the doctor. I don't feel very good. And then like you die later, and Batman's like, I don't kill anybody. Well, you killed that guy. You sure as heck killed that guy.
Well, he didn't go to the doctor. That's his fault.
It's like the Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight Batman. You're watching him shoot people with that big cannon. And he's all, yeah, those were non-lethal rounds. Yeah, that round that was as big as a Coke can coming out of that one that, like 20 millimeter barrel that shot that guy at point blank range. He lived through that. He lived through all of that. Yeah. Or whenever you're driving down the road and you happen to like glance a couple of bad guys and it electrocutes them. No, they came out of that just fine. They came out just fine of a shock. That was about it, and they got lightly tapped. I'm like, no. He killed
20 feet into the air.
Yeah, it horribly landed on his neck. Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. I don't know. But anyways, let's move on to the next topic. Scott Koblish. Now, this is Fantastic Four number 700. This is the wraparound.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I was like, holy crap. This guy, I will say it is not as good as George Perez ever could do, because this guy isn't as good of an artist. But my Lord, that is a thick amount of people on that. I mean, it is crazy.
That is my wrist hurts just looking at that. I usually only say that about other kinds of pictures.
I can't imagine how long this took this guy, but I mean, I wonder if he did put Waldo in here somewhere. We're just not going to see it till much later. But I miss this kind of stuff about comics. This is what made comics fun back in the day. You'd have a George Perez cover where you're like, holy crap, look at everybody on here. And it was basically. And
it's fun. It's so fun to this day to see if you can name all the characters, I'd be hard pressed to try to get all of them.
Yeah, it is something to be held in here. But what I did notice is like I said, with George Perez, they were all interacting with each other. It's pretty much the entirety of the cover was like moving in one direction or moving against each other. They were actually interacting. On this one, it just looks like everybody's facing you basically, and they're doing a pose.
Yeah.
And some people you're only getting like the top, like
sometimes a lot of these group photos where I guess the idea is the perspective. You're looking at it at an angle where they're all standing, but you can see all of them. And sometimes artists just draw people on top of each other. And they kind of, after a while, they kind of forget what the perspective is supposed to be.
Oh, yeah. Well, you would in this, especially, you would just like lose it.
After a while, like, I don't even. Like,
well, and with this too, the other thing that this is less impressive to me than the George Perez years, because right now you can get a Cintiq and you can use Photoshop to do layers here. Yeah. And George Perez did not have that. He was doing that. I mean, he might have had a light box and he was layering characters on top of layering characters, and maybe that's how he did it. But I can almost guarantee you that this guy was using a Cintiq, and it's just like you got a foreground, a middle ground, another middle ground, and a background. So
yeah. Which, I don't have a problem with, because you just do what you got to do to make the piece look good.
Oh yeah.
But
I use all kinds of tools now, so I don't feel bad for him, but I'm more impressed by George Perez's art, because he didn't have any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember as a kid you'd have like a cover like this every once in a while, or you get a poster like this, and it was so awesome because it was like, well, look, you got all the characters in one. Because you either got that or you got like one character and he was like running, or two characters interacting, And I was like, oh, that's cool. But when you got something like this, I was always super impressed as a kid. I was like, oh, look at that. It's just crazy.
You kind of feel like you got more bang for your buck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like that X-Men poster that just about every kid had in the 80s where it was like, it was really tall. And it had all the X-Men it was a Jim Lee poster and they were all interacting. And I guess you had like Iceman and he's like making his way to the top. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. That was cool.
So glad to see this kind of stuff come back. I really hope that after reading the Mark Waid and Dan Mora book, it made me kind of hopeful for like maybe comic books are coming back to their roots, because we really need that to like stave off their demise, because a lot of this is not fun anymore. It doesn't read as a comic book. I've like, for example, I just read 2 books this week. I every once in a while I'll do this. I'll go and I'll pick up just a random floppy that I'm semi interested in. I picked up Cosmic Ghost Rider #1, which I really wish I hadn't. And I picked up I also picked up this one called Hallows Eve. And I was reading them and I was like, holy crap, these are terrible. The Ghost Rider, the Cosmic Ghost Rider book, it was about 6 pages of story. There was one flashback. There was a little bit of Frank Castle being a space bum now. And then somebody died. And then they do this thing now in books. And it's really like, it's jarring to me now, because it used to be that you would get a 32-page comic book and it was all done by one artist and it was all one continuous story. But now they do a lot of splitting of artists and a lot of splitting of stories. So I got to the midway point of this book and then it started a new artist and a new story basically. And this was kind of a recap, because I guess for people that haven't kept up with the Cosmic Ghost Rider, it basically told you kind of what was going on and like, just filled you in. And I was like, well, that was a flipping waste of time. I barely got anything out of this. And it was the same thing for the Hallows Eve thing. I mean, Hallows Eve was it was less bad for that. You had the girl being introduced, her powers got introduced kind of in a dorky way, if I have to say, really dorky way. And then you learned her motivation, why she was robbing this bank or whatever. And then you learned, and then you basically who her bad guys are, who's trying to chase her down. Because I'm guessing she's a villain from another dimension or whatever. That's what I gathered from this, because I wasn't keeping up with that dark web stuff that's going on right now. But and then it's even the same for Superman. I got the Superman, it was Action Comics. I don't remember. It was just the latest one that was last Wednesday. And there were 3 stories in it. And one was like, hello, fellow kids, and hello, fellow 30-somethings. And the middle one was kind of intriguing because it felt like it was written by a different guy, and it had Lee Week's artwork. And they're like, this is the story that I probably would have rather read. It was basically like a kind of like almost a flashback of Superman and what's the name of the one that actually has powers? John, the one that's actually
well, there's Connor and John. I'm behind on the Superman main comics,
but I just started watching, because you said that you actually enjoyed the Superman and Lois. I just started watching that show yesterday. I got through about halfway of the first episode, and I was like, wow, I really don't like his other kid. I was like,
oh, yeah, so
Connor, not Connor, that's Superboy.
Well, in this show, there's Jordan and Jonathan, and the one kid I liked better, he's off the show now. They're going to recast him. So I'm like,
yeah.
He had to leave the Jonathan, the other one who didn't have powers. And I'm like, I liked him better.
Yeah, I liked him too.
Kid.
Oh,
but
the real hero there with no powers, still fighting the good fight.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, because so I anyways. So I'm reading that Superman comic, and I was blown away by the last story, which I was like, oh my God. And not for a good reason, because it basically was, I don't know if it's just this generation. They're like, we got to get every generation in here. We've covered the kind of like, I guess that would be, they have the Gen Zers. I don't know if the Gen Zers and millennials are considered different now. The Zoomers and I guess millennials and Zoomers. So I guess the first part of the book was for the millennials. The middle part of the book was for like the Gen X and the Xennials and Gen Y. Mm-hmm. And then the last book was like for the Zoomers because it was about Power Girl and this other chick. I cannot remember her name. It's like Omen or something like that. And they were I guess they were like in astral form, and she's like, this is how we're going to treat superheroes with like with like mental problems. And she's like, we'll be using our powers and you'll be helping me you'll be going into their dreams and helping them, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh God. And it was like therapy. It was superhero therapy. And so I believe it was Nightwing showed up in costume, by the way. He shows up and he's walking a cow. And the cow is Beast Boy, obviously. And he's like, Beast Boy won't change back. Something's wrong with Beast Boy. And so they're like, okay, let's start the therapy now. And so the Omen girl like started like doing her magic, whatever. And then Power Girl went into the dream, and Beast Boy has like this alternate personality that's like a red creature that she has to fight. And I was like, oh my God. And they were talking about how, all this past trauma and this and that. And I was like, who is this for? I made my bets about who it was for, but I just like, at what point are comics going to get fun again? Because this is not fun. And the artwork was trash.
Imagine reading a whole storyline of that called Heroes in Crisis.
Yeah. The thing that made me kind of just so sour on Tom King, which is a shame because he's done great stuff, but I'm like, man, Heroes in Crisis was such a fumble. And like, I get it that, superheroes would have mental, trauma and stuff like that. Like, of course these people would, but it seems to be done when things get kind of overused. They seem like a trend. They seem like a fad, and they seem tedious to sit through after a while. And I don't know how else to describe it other than just I don't know. It makes me just want to say, "Shut up, hippie." I'm just like,
a stark contrast. Stark contrast from what we read the other day. I mean, last week. It's a stark contrast. I don't understand who it's for. Shut up, hippie. I don't know what else to say. Other than you're
kind of just how I feel, unfortunately. Even though part of me gets it, another part of me is like, I don't know. This seems like a lot of like, do you want to prove every boomer right that this generation is weak? Because this is what you're going to do. This is what happens. Do you want boomers to be annoying and say, we told you, this is what's going to happen,
Yeah. I can't. And you speak of Tom King, I cannot like that guy. After what he did to Jay Lee, oh, dude, that guy's dead to me.
What did he do to Jay? I think I knew about this.
So, like, Jay Lee, okay, so do you know who Ethan Van Sciver is, right?
The name
Ethan
is familiar.
Van Sciver used to draw for DC, and he's
an artist. I know that.
Green Lantern, yeah. So whenever the Comicsgate stuff started, he got associated with it highly, and he's fine with that. He wears it like a badge of honor. He doesn't care. He's fine. He went on to do his own comic books. It's just that it's a book he did a long time ago. It's called Cyber Frog. And it's
I remember Cyber Frog. Yeah, kind of.
So he's doing Cyber Frog now, and he's doing it as an independent book, and he crowdfunds everything. Okay. And so for like stretch goals and for whatever incentives and stuff, he'll have different artists come in and draw. Well, he had Jay Lee come in, and he was like, can you draw a cover for me? It's going to be a variant cover for Cyberforce and Cyber Frog. And Jay Lee was like, sure. Yeah, whatever. I don't care. So he did it. And then later you get Tom King writing the Rorschach book. Rorschach number 1. Okay. And they're variant cover, and they don't consult artists on who's going to be doing their variant cover. Really, to be honest, they don't consult them on a lot of stuff. Anyways, so he he sees I guess the proofs come out or the day one copies come out, and he notices one of them, or maybe he got them, I don't know. He notices one of them is drawn by Jay Lee, and he had found out that Jay Lee had drawn for Ethan Van Sciver, and he proceeded to go on to Twitter and just say how much, like, don't buy this variant. It is as far as I'm concerned, the only cover is the one done by so-and-so, whoever the hell it was. It was a terrible cover. And he's like, Jay Lee should know better. That means he's part of Comicsgate and all this shit, and just starts like dumping on him. Well, everybody, his little mob of followers, they go over to Jay Lee's Twitter and they just start like losing their mind on him. And I guess some of the companies start losing their mind on, like, sorry, it would have been just DC, start calling him. And he, unfortunately, that day he said, because what happened was later Tom got on, he goes, oh, I talked to Jay. He said he wasn't aware of this. He's not on social media, so everything's good now. Well, then Jay finally goes on to Instagram, where is the only place that he's actually got like any kind of presence. And he goes, we're not okay. He goes, let me tell you what happened that day. He said, I was taking my dog, my beloved pet, to a place to get a procedure done. And it had been a long illness, and we were hoping against hope that this poor beloved pet would come through, and they actually passed away. And so I lost them. And he said that day that all that Twitter drama and stuff started happening, he said he was driving home, and what he had intended to do was stop off, I believe, in San Francisco at the beach or something like that, or somewhere. I can't remember where he said. Maybe it was Catalina. I don't remember. But he said he was going to stop off there, and they were going to spread the ashes and just have like one more day and whatever. And his phone starts going crazy. He starts getting calls from these people, and he's like, he has to put out all these fires on that day, and he's like super stressed out. He goes, I never made it to the beach that day, and I never got that time, and it was all because this guy, he goes, wanted to virtue signal, and he goes, I don't have any presence on the internet other than Instagram.
What?
No clue about this person. Hello? You might want to jump in and jump out. Anyways, he said he had no clue what was going on. And it just he'll never get that moment back. And after that, I was like, you know what? To hell with Scott. It's Tom King. I don't think I'm going to be reading any of his books.
Is just the treatment of Wally West alone in Heroes in Crisis was enough for me.
Yeah. I don't know his writing. I know that he's doing that Supergirl. He did the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow or whatever.
I switched over my car, so I know.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but yeah, that whole thing. If I'm still even on the feed,
yeah, you're here.
That whole thing it's to threaten somebody's. I mean, this is old news now, but to like jeopardize someone's career over something that they didn't even really know about. And he's drawing in cyber fraud. Are you kidding me? And Tom King is like to come in and be like, first of all, the quality of your stuff has gone downhill. So I don't really like who is this guy? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's just all very obnoxious. That's the only word. Just insufferable, obnoxious. Just to do this kind of stuff. I'm like so like annoying and like.
Okay, let's move on to the next topic, unless y'all don't have anything else. So Joe Madureira to bring back, let's move this over. Joe Madureira is to bring back the Battle Chasers in mid 2023. Now, this was something, I don't know if either of you guys followed it. Battle Chasers was kind of like in 98. It was a while back.
I've seen the name before.
Yes. And it ended on like an issue 9, because that was kind of that was kind of the thing about Marvel. I'm sorry, not Marvel, Image back in the day. They were so spotty on just about everything that they did. Like, you would get a book late, or you would get just a 4-issue miniseries, and then it would go to a regular series, but then it would turn back into a series. It was just it was nonstop with these guys. I honestly think that the only thing that kept most of the guys who had done the exodus over to Image, the only thing that kept them working at Marvel was that constant like deadline and that whip behind their back telling them, hey, we need to get this done.
Yeah.
Because whenever they all went on their own, it seemed to be that none of them could, keep it together.
Yeah. That's maybe going on in DC now, because DC stands for Delayed Comics. It's just like the latest Justice Society of America, which I'm a big mark for the JSA. This current run I'm still waiting it out to make a final decision on, because some stuff I like, some stuff is like, I don't know where you're going with this, but we're having to wait and for like the third issue or whatever. And I think it's because Jeff Johns is busy doing everything else DC related than writing this comics. That's what I think. But I don't know if you hate Jeff Johns as well. I have. It's sort of like when some of these creators do the sheer volume of their work, it's like some stuff I'm gonna like, some stuff I'm not. I don't know. It's just, you know what I mean? Like when they've done so much, it's just like, oh man. Unless like to me, like Bendis is like that, like done some great stuff that I absolutely love. But he's also was writing Superman when they aged up John. I'm like, don't like that. So,
well, I mean, I kept up with this comic back in the day. Here, I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit, Noach, because you're. I'm
in a moving vehicle, and I'm gonna have to hop off soon. I'm actually gonna mute.
Okay, I'll put you back at 100 here. Anyways, so I kept up with this comic book in the 90s, just like I did pretty much everything that came from Image at the time. And it just ended on kind of a nothing. It was, I guess, kind of a cliffhanger. It just didn't really end all that well to me. And I was always, I wasn't there for like I wasn't there for the beginning. So like the first 2 or 3 issues I picked up in back issues, but it did seem like it wasn't consistent. And now, so like it ends in what, before 2000, and now the way this came about, the way this number 10 came about is they had this Indiegogo or Kickstarter campaign for the video that came out, Battlestar. Gosh almighty, Battle Chasers Night War, and they said as one of the stretch goals, if we get to this, Joe Madureira will put out another or put out issue 10 of Battle Chasers. And he didn't say anything else, nothing. And you would assume, just like me, you would assume that means that he'll be drawing it. Well, he's not going to be drawing most of it. It's going to be this guy named Ludo Lullaby, I believe. And it's this kind of like, I don't know. It looks kind of like one of the guys who worked at Blizzard, who's now, I guess, left Blizzard and just does comic books. You know, Blizzard has that kind of house style that kind of looks like Joe Madureira's old work. And it's just, it feels like a bait and switch to me. I felt this way about most of Image's stuff because, for example, Todd McFarlane, he does 21 issues of Spawn. And then he quits, and then he gives it over to Capullo. And to be honest,
yeah,
we got a good artist out of it eventually, because Capullo, when he came and started drawing for McFarlane, I was like, oh my God, I remember this guy. He used to draw in X-Men, and he was okay. He had this kind of like style that was like a mixture of like one of the Kuberts and Jim Lee, and kind of his own thing at the same time. And I was like, yeah, I'm okay with it. But whenever you're a kid and you moved over, you basically you could be a fan. I don't know why this was so territorial when we were kids, but I was like, I'm either a fan of this or this, you know. Now I just don't read whatever. But I think it was like money thing when you were a kid, you know. You say you had enough money for what you had enough money for. And whenever I heard about Image, you know, McFarlane did Spawn, and he'd done some Wolverine, you know, and I was like, oh yeah, he's great. I'll follow him. I don't think he's as great now.
Yeah.
But whenever you follow him, you expect him to keep doing his book, just like Eric Larson. One of the first comics that I ever bought from Image, and this is like what told me Image even existed, was I was in Walmart and I was walking around in the little, remember they used to have that like baseball card and comic section, which was way bigger at the time. And you could get the blister packs full of comics. That's how I got the Shattershot annual, and that's how I got the Savage Dragon. Got them both at the same time. And I love the Shattershot annual because it had all the greats. It had Jim Lee, had Jay Lee, had Joe Quesada, and I believe trying to think of another artist that was in there.
Valentino?
No, I'm forgetting.
He wasn't.
But anyways, in the Shattershot annual, I had a bunch of greats. Some of the last work they did for Marvel, and then you move over to Savage Dragon. I was like, whoa, this is super cool. I really, it was a ground floor character, brand new, and I was really digging the art style. I was really digging the story, and then you get to like I think it's like the 4th issue, and it ends, for a long time, and then
it was
Dragon #1 again of the I guess the ongoing series, and it was like that for everybody. It was remember Wetworks by Will Spartacio. I remember they pushed that thing out like it would be in the Image lined up soon, and I remember we waited years and years and years, and it came out, and I think it had a very short run, and everybody made the excuse for Will Spartacio saying like, well, he broke his arm whenever he started that series, so that's why it took it long. I was like, it takes about 4 weeks to heal a broken arm, another 2 to get out of like physical therapy and all that stuff. It's not as long as we waited, like the 2 or 3 years we waited for Wetworks.
Yeah, I remember that took forever.
And then you get who some of the other offenders. Rob Liefeld, he decided to let somebody else draw for his stuff. I really didn't care because he wasn't my favorite of the group. Then you had Cyberforce, which had a very, as far as I remember, had a short run, and then he started letting other artists come in. That was Mark Silvestri. And that's basically like whenever they started doing all their studios, even Jim Lee did it, for God's sake. And it seemed like Jim Lee was like on the ball at Marvel, but then whenever he went and created Wildstorm, it was like we got a few issues and then it switched over to somebody else or whatever. And I mean, I could have lived with like a 2-month gap. You don't have to be monthly, just like Marvel was, to beat Marvel.
Yeah,
it could have been better and gave yourself 2 months per book. That way you had a little bit more time for your personal life, because the way I understand it, most of these guys are so busy doing this, unless you're a super fast artist, you're so busy that you just barely have time for anything other than this job. And I get it. You need a work-life balance. Go ahead, make your book come out every 2 months or maybe even every 3 months and make it better for that. But that's not what they did. And the funny thing is they were selling. I think what it became in the end is like, so Youngblood comes out, it breaks like the 300,000 barrier at the beginning, and they're like, holy crap, he's like, I'm making more money than I did at Marvel. I'm doing great. And so they break that barrier, and then all of a sudden they notice more of this money is coming into me now. I can't believe how much I wasn't making, and I was doing all the work. So they're all, if I have some like fill-in artists come in and do this, and then I write another book and I do this and I do that, then I could make tons of money. And I think that's what actually happened at Image, is they were just they were drawn in by all the extra cash that they could make by letting other people into their studios to do this and that. And here though, I think it's just, to be honest, whenever Joe Madureira left Image after he was done with Battle Chasers, he's done stuff here and there. I think he wants to do video game stuff more than he does this, because he went on to do the Darksiders video game that was all art designed by him. And then I believe that studio broke up. That was Vigil. And I believe that studio broke up after the second Darksiders, which that was also art directed by him. But after that, they moved on and they created Gunfire games and Airship games, I want to say. Airship games. And I believe he moved on to Airship. And I believe he's talked about how he's just so lazy. He just wants to play games all the time. And so I guess it's easier.
I can relate to that.
Yeah. I think he wants to do some concept art, and then he wants to play video games. And he's like, doing a comic, I can't be bothered. I'll just let somebody else take the title, which I think is bait and switch.
Well, speaking of bait and switch, I got to hop off here. But so this Middle-Aged Mutant is going to sign off. But continue talking. You have another 4 hours worth of content to get over. So have fun with that.
3 more topics to go. So yeah, well, this is No H signing off. No H, thanks for joining us. I know we had to start late today. That's why this is going on this time, but
yeah, but it was his fault we started late.
It was my fault.
How does he get no?
My fault you started late. Gotta go. So anyway. All right, guys.
Take it easy. All right, Bodz, the pressure's on. What is your take?
I know nothing about this, but I like Joe Madureira from the past.
All right, well then
he needs to draw X-Men.
Yeah, he did draw X-Men. Yeah, it was all right.
Mm-hmm.
I liked his art.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next topic. Okay, no, that's not the next topic. Let's see. It's part of the next topic.
It is now.
The next topic is, where are you at? There you are. The next topic is what I'm calling Celebucomics.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
I love it because it's Keanu Reeves, so I love it already.
So there's all these I've noticed this, and it was just, I don't know, just kind of stumbled onto some of these. That there's a lot more celebrities doing comic books now, and I guess there's been more in the past, and they've mostly been pretty terrible for the most part. Most just are not great, and it's just, I think what happens is they just like, hey man, we'll sign your name to this, and go, okay, I'll do it. And,
yeah, I know of recent stuff. Well, maybe I should just be quiet because maybe it'll be on here. But proceed.
Things on here. Anyways, so there's a lot more celebrities, and one of them is genuinely like surprising and weird, and I don't know what to think about it. But this first one, it kind of feels like a normal fit. Like Keanu Reeves, they said that he, I don't remember if he approached them. Oh yes, this was supposed to be a movie. This Berserker concept. And so he had taken it to somebody, and well, I guess they also work for Boom Studios, and they're all, how would you feel about making this a comic book first? And he's like, well, yeah. And so he went ahead and signed his name to it, and he said, I'll help write it. And I guess he's helping plot and write it. And so we end up with Berserker, and to me, he kind of almost reminds me of Wolverine for the most part.
Yeah,
he's like an immortal who he has like a perfect memory, and he can't, I guess he heals from every wound and all this. And like the government is using him for these black ops operations, and bloody chaos ensues in this book. And apparently it's well liked, and I'm actually interested in it. So I don't know about what do you think about this. This is a weird thing these days.
I was, I've heard about it. I like Keanu Reeves, so like I would give it a shot. I haven't read it yet, but not knowing that it was going to be a movie at one point, I kind of want to see that movie now.
Oh well, guess what, Bodz? It's going to be a movie.
What?
Yeah, what? It's going to be a movie. I saw an interview recently where they said now that this has been a success, they're going to transition it into film. And
starring Chris Pratt.
Starring Chris Pratt. Yeah, you have to almost like, what you have to do is take Keanu Reeves' face and like put it onto Chris Pratt's body doing a deep fake, because Keanu Reeves doesn't look like this. He's not buff like that. He is a lanky dude these days. He is super lanky. And I don't know if he has I don't know if he has even the care to get that beefed up to do this kind of stuff. I don't know. Maybe Keanu Reeves is very surprising, dude.
Yeah, he'll probably just be lanky him doing the same things, probably.
Yeah.
But I mean, I will definitely watch that.
Yeah, I'm going to pick up this book, and I'll let you know what this is like. I've been curious about this for a while, and I'm thinking right now there's 3 books, or they're in the 3rd book, and that's like the end is like a trilogy. It's in graphic novel form, so I really like that. I'm really not into single issues.
No, I'm only looking at this from like a little tiny panel on my phone. Is that Romita artwork or
that's Garney? That's Garney.
Really?
Actually,
from here,
not on the cover. Sorry, I don't know who that is. It says that could be Garney. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can only see a little tiny thumbnail on my phone of it. So
it does look like Romita. I'll give you that. This style is very similar. No, but the interiors are done by Ron Garney. So,
okay.
And Bill Crabtree, I believe he was the inker for The Walking Dead. So.
Oh, okay. Well, cool.
And so let's move on to the next in this lineup of Celebucomics. This one is one I'm actually interested in, and I think I'm gonna help crowdfund. This is First Kill. It's the story of John Rambo before he was Rambo in Vietnam.
Oh, cool.
And it's written by Sylvester Stallone and my favorite writer of all time, Chuck Dixon. So I'm into this.
That's very cool.
So it's being crowdfunded right now, and this is just one of the artists that's going to be doing it. Simon Bisley. Bisley.
Wow.
I never know how to say his name. He's going to be doing
Me neither.
Covers, and so I'm super. That's the cover I want, but I'm kind of torn because also Del Keown is going to be doing a cover, and if you remember Del Keown from the 90s Marvel, he was the guy that was famous for like reimagining the way the Hulk looked, the way we think of the Hulk. He also did the Pit for Marvel Comic. I'm sorry for.
Oh, okay. Okay,
that
yeah.
was Del Keown. So he's doing a cover as well, and so this let's see if I can pull up the Kickstarter and let's switch feeds over here to our browser feed. Okay, so here it is. I don't know why I didn't have this brought up. I'm retarded all of a sudden. So this is it. You can watch the video yourselves. It's by Splatocomics, which is Richard Meyer's I guess it's company. It's basically where he does his his Indiegogo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This guy also is they're like, oh, he's a Comicsgate guy, and I'm like, no, he was just a guy that was sick of. He started a YouTube channel called Diversity in Comics. He's basically just sick of how crappy comics have become, and he decided to make his own. So this is the some of the stuff that they have in here. Some of the artwork that's going to be in the actual interiors. Several bundles available. I think I'm going to pick up like I said, the Simon Bisley cover. This stuff is pretty expensive, to be honest, for like a graphic novel, because I don't exactly know how many pages are in this book, but for me, $30, $35 for a floppy cover is pretty expensive. But
yeah, it is.
Some of the artwork here is pretty good. I mean, I'm digging this painting version of the artwork. I really like that. Here's where I
That's
get that
good.
image.
Yeah.
I don't exactly know who this artist is, but apparently it's going to be a couple of stories within here. I actually think that's a pretty good rendition of Stallone. There's going to be a couple of stories in here, all of them. Oh, this is actually pretty good artwork too. I mean, it's a little Stephen Platt for me, but it's not bad. But for an indie comic that was being funded by Indiegogo, I don't think this looks bad at all. I believe this is
no, not at all.
Same artist that did the work on his first book, Lost Souls. But this is coming out soon, and I'm actually digging it, especially since Sylvester Stallone's involved, and especially because the Chuck Dixon's involved. But let's move on to the next book. Photos.
Okay.
Let's see. Where are you? Oh, we just get Exiled, and it's by Wesley Snipes, and it's kind of crazy. By the way,
let me guess what the synopsis is. Main character doesn't pay his taxes. He's exiled and has to.
He said it was.
No?
He said it was based upon his life, and I was like, "So you lived in like a dystopian cyberpunk future where you forgot to pay your taxes, and they implanted you with weird electronic." I don't know, but anyways, yeah, this is one of those things that I did not expect to see out of Wesley Snipes, and I've looked at the interiors and stuff for this book. It doesn't look bad, but I haven't heard anything about anything else. He has like I guess he has like this power to see everything. Like it's like something his dad had as well. He's like a cop or something who has to he has to solve crimes and stuff, but he's been exiled obviously for some reason. And this one just really took me by surprise. I'd never expected Wesley Snipes to do something like this. But he's pretty excited about it. I watched an interview he gave about this, and by the way, Wesley Snipes is looking really bad these days. He is as a rail. It's like you look at him in Blade, and he was buff, and great shape. He is so skinny now. It's crazy. I hope he's okay.
Oh, I hope he's not sick.
Yeah, I hope he's not sick.
Yeah.
But I really I'm excited for this one. I don't know what you think, Bodz. It's
well, let me ask you some questions. When you say he has the ability to see, is it like he can see like through women's clothes? Is this
no? I think it's like he's able to.
He saw everything.
Yeah, he saw he's like through a hole in a wall or something like that. No, he's got I think he's got like the ability, like super perception or something like that, is what I gathered from what I read, and I was like, I mean, that's cool. If you're a detective, that's actually really cool. So,
like Psych.
Like Psych, yeah. Except it's not fake. It's like a superpower rather than just a con. Wesley Snipes, I'll give it to him. He was Blade. He did a pretty good job. Blade.
Yeah,
I think he got screwed on his movie Blade. Blade Trinity. Ooh, that was a terrible movie. I really think he got screwed over on that, and I don't know how to I don't know how you come back from that and not be really like pissed off at everybody. And then he goes to jail like for his trouble, like I understand it was his fault, but I'm like, he's like, oh man, I lost my movie franchise that I was a big part of, and now I'm gotta go to jail. So
yeah,
I hope this is redemption art for him. I hope it does well. I'll probably pick it up to read it, but yeah, I've seen this at the comic shop a couple of times. I just didn't know what it was until I started looking further into this. And now for the weirdest person. You might not even know who this is, Bodz. This is how weird this is. Jason Derulo is Uzo. I guess
I've heard the name. Like he's a musical artist, right?
Yeah, Jason Derulo.
Yeah.
Every song he ever did started with Jason Derulo.
That's how I know it, because they told me.
Yeah,
at the beginning of every song.
It's brand new. Now this one is it's about a group of meteors that actually hit the Earth, and the meteors. Not meteors, asteroids. And I think you should probably gone with meteors, because asteroids usually I think are bigger. But these asteroids are wanted by the government, and where they landed, I believe that like the good things are happening, but a lot of bad things are happening for the environment, whatever. And so there's these people that have set up shop around these things because one reason or another. I think it's because they get some sort of benefit from them. And it's kind of like this, like it's kind of an apocalyptic dystopian future type thing. And so Uzo is one of the people that is there apparently. And he's trying to protect these things as well. And he has a couple superpowers. I think he is able to like move things with his mind and stuff, but he's also like, he's super fast and he can fight really well. And I just, this book, I don't know. This is one of the strangest ones that I could think of. It's I don't know if I'm going to pick this one up, but again, Celebucomics. Who knew this was a thing?
Yeah, I just have to assume that he is a fan and wanted a comic book.
Yeah, he has this like really cringy video. If you look it up on YouTube, he has this video where he is being Uzo, but he's like at his house. And so he's fighting all these guys like all karate style, and like he beats them up and he uses like, his mind powers a couple of times or whatever. It's hard to watch, but I had to like watch it to know what was going on here. And I watched a couple of reviews and people said this is actually a pretty good book, which I shouldn't be shocked at. There's got to be some.
Yeah, the artwork looks good on the cover there.
Yeah, and I saw some of it in the book and it looked great. So I'm not opposed to picking it up and trying it out. It's not that expensive. You can get one of the trades. I think it's just the first and only trade from K2 Books, I believe, and it's only $20. So it's not bad for dipping your toe into this universe. And the reviews that I saw, the people were like, "Yeah, it's an actual solid read for once," because celebrity comics are absolute trash.
Well, some of the ones that I was going to bring up, because I didn't know if they're going to be on your list, but I know recently Paul Dano, who was the Riddler, he wrote some for DC. They let Dan DeVito do a Penguin storyline just recently also and stuff. So it's weird, sometimes celebrities do it. And then we talked last week about Kevin Smith doing quite a few of them and using Morose a lot in his verbiage.
Also, I don't know if you would consider him a celebrity. Joss Whedon.
Yeah, no, yeah, he did quite a
X-Men.
He did the Astonishing X-Men run. That's where they kind of revamped. That was a good run because that was like, hey, you know what? We don't need them wearing black leather costumes like the movies. We need them to wear colorful suits and show the public they're superheroes. And regardless what you think of him, he had a good run on X-Men for sure.
And then there's another guy. He's a smaller actor than the rest. The David Dasmalchian.
Oh yeah,
I don't know how to say his last name. He's written a book called Count Crowley, and so that's another one that's out there. So I mean, that's pretty cool. But I want to talk about the coolest one that I actually read the entirety of the series of, and that is the Sergeant Rock book by the Baron of Boomstick.
All right,
the Hefe.
Hell of the King, baby.
Bruce Campbell wrote this book, and I've harped on this a lot. Books that are written like a comic book first, and then you leave your BS out of it, I will forgive a lot of stuff. This one, I don't even have to forgive anything. It's just a fun book. I really, really like this. There's 6 issues, so it's really short read, and it's basically about the Nazis have started to reanimate their corpses because it's getting toward the ends of the European campaign and they're about to lose, and so the Nazis have started reanimating the dead, and they've called Sergeant Rock Easy Company in, and see, I didn't know much about Sergeant Rock. I've heard of that Sergeant Rock. I knew he was a DC character, but Sergeant Rock, he's commander of Easy Company. Or the NCO of Easy Company, and he has been called in to find out what's going on, to get a sample of what they're using to actually create these reanimated corpses. And it's really cool because they do stuff like it's kind of like the Dirty Dozen meets kind of James Bond, because they're sending him in and they're giving him like all this secret. They have like the I guess it's the Q moment. No, the M. Is it Q? No, it's Q. Where they're all, well, we've got these gadgets for you, and basically,
that's Q.
The first walkie-talkie they get, and they're all, this is gonna make things a lot easier. And they get like night vision goggles, and they get some night vision scopes, thermal scopes. They give them these. They say, well, you could take your Browning, or you could take this really crazy like shotgun that we've created. And it was basically like this shotgun that had no stock. And it was basically just like almost like a hand cannon. And it came with a drum magazine, and Sergeant Rock's all, I'll be using that one. So just cool little moments like that in this. This is not the interior artwork. If you want to see the interior artwork, it's right here. This is basically what you're getting. And I don't know if you can see this, Bodz, but in the little corner right here on the left-hand side, I'm sorry, the lower right-hand side of the book, of the interior art, I think it was Ava Braun is jumping on this guy's back, and he's like, "Get off me, you crazy bitch." So,
nice.
It has nods to that and he's a smooth writer. I understand. I get now. Like, he knows. I think it's because he knows action, and he knows show don't tell. Using dialogue for this is to accentuate what's going on as the visual. And I'm like, whoa, dude, that for Bruce Campbell's first foray into writing, that's amazing, because like I said, some of these guys are writers and they will not shut up.
And that's a good point, because like he is a writer. Like, remember, he's wrote books before, but I expected to be more wordy, like the comics to be more wordy. But yeah, if you can do it like the way it's supposed to be done and not be too verbose about it, that's awesome.
Yeah, these things are, you breeze through them. They're very action oriented. They get right to the point. He does not mess around. And the cool thing is, when you get to the end, and I don't know if he's going to continue writing this, but when they get to the end, they basically create a new branch of the service for Sergeant Rock to now be over, and it's something he's going to take over and like just take on like these mystical and like supernatural and weird campaigns to actually resolve them. And I was like, that's cool. It kind of reminds me of the whole Hellboy BPRD thing.
Yeah.
So I that's what I'm kind of guessing that we're getting out of this, is it's kind of like taking that part of Hellboy and then moving it over to Sergeant Rock and giving it, because it's part of DC horror. You can see in the upper left hand corner. So I'm wondering if that's what's going to continue to be, just weird stuff like that, like maybe werewolves and mummies and vampires and whatnot. But it has a great story arc. Like I said, not too wordy. You basically breeze through this, and then you get to the end and you're like, oh, this is a pretty good ending too. I mean, I'm digging everything I see. Like I said, who would have thunk it? Bruce Campbell. I mean,
no,
that's pretty.
But I like it.
I haven't seen it yet, but I like it.
I don't care. You had me at Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, but my wife, she said that I have to squeeze this joke in, and I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. She said if Bruce Campbell was to create a like a, how you have the guy who come with the tow truck, she's it would be Campbell Tow.
Campbell Tow. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Sorry. But anyways, yeah, so that had to be said. I did it. I fulfilled my contract.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know, Bodz, what else do you think about this?
I don't know what else there's to say. I mean, there's, again, you had me at Bruce Campbell. Yeah, I want to read this. Well,
it should be coming out in a graphic novel format soon, or if you're on DC Universe
I am.
Sorry, DC, is it DC Universe or DC Infinite? I don't remember.
DC Infinite now.
Okay, so I don't know what tier of DC Infinite you have, because I looked into it to myself and recently saw that it's depending on the one you buy, it's pretty expensive. But yeah, I think if you're on the bottom tier, it's like 6 months after, so you get a little while before you see any of this.
I'm on the bottom tier, but what's funny is like I signed on, the day it launched and stuff. I pre-registered for and stuff, so my name is literally the Dark Knight on there. So my username. So not to brag, but yeah,
you're like the guy on Gmail that just his name is Dave, and it's Dave at Gmail. He's like, whoa, I wonder when you started. That's awesome. Well, all right. Well, there's nothing else to say. Let's move on to the next. What is the significance of the $4.99? Well, I'll tell you what that significance is. It's the price of a single floppy now. Yes. This is
WTF.
WTF, guys. Yeah, it is going to be most comics are going to be falling in line. We were already at $3.99, and I thought that was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Now it appears that we are headed into now you have to break a 10. You can't break a 5. You got to break a 10 to get a floppy. That is crazy to me. And I don't know.
What's funny is like you didn't add that on there. That was actually on the comic book itself. Just
somebody written that.
Shocked.
I just can't believe this. I remember when we were kids, they jumped up. Like I think some of the first books I bought were like $1.75 or $1.25. And
I'm pretty sure we had some for $1 even.
Yeah, it was. This is shocking to say the least.
Yeah.
And it's funny because right below that it says ages 12 and up, which I find hilarious that a 12-year-old is going to scrounge together $5 to go pick this up.
Yeah. It's like, I'll read this for free on the internet later.
Yeah. No joke.
I'll find it somewhere.
I know. What does the subscription service cost? Like $9, I thought. Or 10 a month.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But I mean, that's like 2 comims.
So you can just get your subscription service and just sit on it and wait 6 months till this thing is out and read it for. I mean, you're paying for it a month.
That's what I do a lot of the times.
That is staggering how much.
Yeah.
Up. And some people are saying that it is a volume issue. Like they're not nearly moving the volume of comics that they moved.
I seriously doubt they are. And I kind of don't know how comic book stores are staying open because everybody's reading digital. Yep. But if you go to a comic book store, it's like, it's mostly toys now. It's mostly collectibles and stuff like that. So they do at least have some kind of income coming, because I mean, when we were kids and we were going to Green Spray, it was all just books. There was barely any toy anything there if you really think about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't. This is to me, this is going to kill the industry. So I don't know what to think of this. So
yeah, I mean, I'll pick.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I will pick up like something if I think, oh, that's really cool. I want the physical copy of that. But it's getting far and far, between when I do that.
They've driven me basically out, because the last two books. I bought 3 books last week. I bought one of the it was the what is it, the Action Comics that had all the superhero the Man family on the cover. I bought the first issue of Hallows Eve and the first issue of, what was the other one? I just said it earlier. Cosmic Ghost Rider. So I bought those and I was like, that was $15. I was like, holy cow. I remember I used to get out way cheaper than that. And then I did, like I said, I do that every once in a while just to dip my toe in and see what's going on there for stuff that I can't get digital. And I was like, this is why I've been driven into the hardcover and omnibus market right here. This particular reason, because you can get a $5 floppy and pay however, God knows how much you'll pay for a series. If you're like a hardcore collector and they must be shelling it out right now. But like, let's say like next week I have I believe it's the 21st, actually, not next week, but the Savage Avengers is coming out. And it's probably like 800 pages or something like that. I don't know how many issues it collects, maybe 30 or 40, probably more like 30. But that book is gonna actually, do I have it? No, I don't think I have a thing of that.
It's an omnibus, you said?
Oh, here, I think it is here. Hold on. Yeah, it's an omnibus. So like, yeah, I don't have it. But you get the entirety of a series. There's no, it's just like a really gigantic graphic novel. I have one that I'm reading right now. It's the Spider-Man by Nick Spencer. And it is, I think over 1,100 pages. It is a lot of comics in here. And I only paid like $80 for it. And some I can get for like 60. And I'm like, well, when you do the math there, you come out cheaper on the omnibus by like a lot. And so this just to me, this signifies kind of the end of the single issue floppy market. I think we're going to see just mobs of omnibuses come out, but you can't. The thing is, the problem with all that thinking is you cannot have one without the other. If you don't have single issue floppies to fill those omnis, like let's say like the single issue market just falls off the roof and people are not buying them anymore. And what do? Do you just put it on digital and then they go to omnis and now it's just digital and omni, or digital and graphic novel? What's the deal? I mean,
I don't know.
I think it's just because it's just not a sustainable thing. I mean, like I said, I read those books and like they're all split up into different stories and they're very short. And I'm like, dude, for $5, I did not feel like I got $5 worth of story. So I have a strong feeling that this is not good for the future of comics. We're already losing what is it? Comixology, which apparently Comixology was better before. I didn't play with Comixology till it came to Amazon.
Well, I did.
Was it better than it is now? Because it's pretty dreadful.
Now it's just kind of like you have to go into like the Amazon account and buy it from there. That's what I'm having to do with Last Ronin right now. You have to buy it from Amazon Comixology, and then like you can go back to your app and read it and stuff. It's just a little more hassle, but apparently there's if you can get. I'm not on it, but like you can get the unlimited and then read a lot of stuff. Like Last Ronin is on there.
That's the one I have. It's only
so I don't know.
It's cheap.
I might as well do that because
it's not that expensive.
Because the issues themselves are about that much, but the whole thing with like the printed issue is like they're still using the ink and the paper and stuff like that. And digital, you're charging the same amount, and it's virtually free, for them. Like there's no cost besides them putting it online, whatever that entails.
I always thought, hey, why is it so expensive? Why is digital stuff? like you'll go on Amazon Prime and you look at something, and you're like, wow, that movie's $17. Oscar, like this is my example. Oscar from Sylvester Stallone, the one where he's like a mobster. Oscar Provolone, you know, he so anyways, that thing stayed $17.99 forever. And I was like, God almighty, it's not even a physical copy. There's no like overhead for physical, but there is overhead. And that's what I wasn't thinking about. To me, it almost seems like it's probably getting more expensive for them to sell these digital items because they have to keep storage and server space and, you know, traffic going on these things. So they're like, if they sell you a one-time item like a DVD, that's in your hands and they don't have to do anything with it. You basically get the player and you're playing the video at your house. And then for this, they have to keep a server up and they have to do maintenance and they have to pay engineers and blah, blah, blah. And so I think that's why we don't see like the what I would have thought initially would be like the disparate pricing in between from digital versus like actual like physical goods. Physical media because of the because of this freaking like need for the technology backbone to actually service all this stuff. It's over time, it's more money they're spending. And I don't know if that's going to be, because to me that's the same thing with these comics. You buy a digital copy of it, let's say you buy it on Amazon, and some of them are pretty expensive. Some of them are just the same price as a physical copy. And I'm just like, what the hell's going on, man? You didn't have to print. Yeah, they didn't have to print, but I bet you money they're having to pay an engineer to continually maintenance all this stuff and check and put stuff in and all that. So I don't know. That's just my take on it. I'm sure that this is going to be a bad thing for the future, but anyways, the world keeps on turning. Let's move on to the next topic, which Bodz, you're gonna tell us about this. You sent me a bunch of stuff from the new Todd McFarlane, Nightfall, and Flash lineup.
Yes.
And I am super. After I saw this, I was like, okay, yeah, I don't buy toys, but I am digging that Batman.
Like literally the only toys I buy now are McFarlane toys. But yeah, he's come out with a lot of good Batmans. There was like a year 2 Batman that was in this huge box that was hard to get. Got it. It was a cool display and everything like that. But this one is really awesome right here. You know, that's Batman from Nightfall, and there's nothing wrong with just a plain Jane Batman.
And I think McFarlane knows that. I think he is more.
Oh yeah.
I think he's more in tune with what's going on with the actual customer because he's been doing this for a long time. He's not licensing out his stuff. He's doing his own toys. So I bet you money he has analytics on like what people are looking for. Like whenever he creates a new Spawn action figure, I'm sure that he knows, well, if you're going to do this new line, you need at least one that's a plain Spawn that's this and that. And the reason is because the fans want that. And so I have a little bit more faith that Todd McFarlane now licensing all these DC toys that you're going to see a lot better stuff for a lot longer. I wonder now if it's only since we're talking about the $4.99 comics, how long are we going to be doing this until we start seeing some of these smaller companies and independents license DC characters to publish? Because you know, who better to save the industry than industry veterans that knew like this and that, not as a writer, because Todd McFarlane is a crap writer, dude. He is a terrible writer. So I just read his Spawn Batman crossover. Ooh, that's bad.
Oh, the new one?
It is awful.
The new one? I remember the old one was actually like, it carried over to the mainstream Spawn. Yeah. Like Batman throws the Batarang in his face and he had to sew his face back up, and it was still in there. Yeah, that was cool. So that's disappointing. Yeah. So that's disappointing.
Yeah, I don't think he should be a writer. If he wants to like publish and he wants to get his talent out there, like the people that he knows, and have him do it, that's fine. But really, I would not want Todd McFarlane as a writer. He's pretty terrible. Chuck Dixon and a couple other guys wrote, because there was 2 stories back in the day whenever they did the Spawn Batman crossover. There were 2 stories. One was called, I believe, The Red Scare or something like that. And the second one was called War Devil. And that was the one done by Chuck Dixon and a couple other writers, and so everybody unanimously agrees that version was better. So, and there's just on this one there is neat, and those were both they were kind of like thicker books too. The Spawn Batman that he came out with this time was very short. It was all the artwork was like really like just kind of like these close in mid shots.
Did he do the artwork, or did Capullo do it?
Capullo. And you think
Capullo did it? Okay, so he just wrote it then. Okay,
yeah, he just wrote it. You think though he inked it as well, and you can kind of tell it. I think I've seen McFarlane on his channel a lot lately, and he's always got his Cintiq in front of him, and he's inking. And so what I'm thinking is that that's basically what he does all day when he's in the office, and people come in and bug him every once in a while for stuff that he needs to do. But
yeah,
he mostly just inks his book. But I'm not into this digital inking thing. I've seen it; it does not look good. It's kind of an ugly thing. He's not doing it right.
Yeah,
maybe there are people that are very good at it, but he is not doing it correctly because it looks like trash. But let's move on to the next figure. They also had the Nightfall Robin, which is awesome.
Yeah,
the pants.
Yeah, and if I remember right, both of these are from Chuck Dixon run, so you should like that, right?
Yes, I'm very digging this.
Yeah.
This is back whenever Robin had the really cool boots with the shin guards, but it also it kind of like I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, but I don't hate it. You know, he had the little boots, but it had like the individual like
the ninja toe.
Yeah,
the ninja toe. Yeah, I remember that. I just remember when this figure actually came out. Well, not this figure, but this look. Because before that we just had classic Robin. So when this came out, it was like, well, that's an awesome look for Robin. It made him cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really dig it. I like that knee articulation. They've done this. This is a lot different than when we were kids.
Yeah,
it's actually it looks like a separate piece, and
it is. So
is odd. I wonder how that articulates in real life. I like I said, I don't buy toys anymore, so I don't know anything about this. But it looks like it would be. They even have articulation at the ankle joint. It looks like
ankles and even the toes. Like he's pretty good about articulation with the figure.
Yeah, and even like look at his torso. I think it articulates. Is it 2 or 3 spots? It's
right
at the top of the rib cage.
At the rib cage, and I think just there. Then at the waist, it's like. I mean, I could be wrong. But, you see a lot of articulation. I remember that was a big thing back in the day, was like if a toy had 32 points of articulation. I don't even know if they count the articulation anymore. But as far as toys go and action figures, one of the main reasons that I continue buying his things is they're not crazy expensive. It's not like, like a figure's like $40. Like, it's $40, like a huge thing with him. Like really? The big dioramas, those will be $40, and that's worth it. But like a lot of them will come with like Build-A-Figures, and that'd be around $25 and stuff. But normal figures about like $20. Oh, really? Not horrible, not great, but a lot better than all the other, collectors' toys out there.
Collectors' toys like Hot Toys and Mezco.
Jeez.
Mezco to a lesser extent, but Hot Toys, holy crap.
Yeah, oh my gosh. And Sideshow, yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to have some things there, but
like the lower end one, and sometimes like $400. It's crazy. But those things are what, a foot tall? Something?
Yeah. Sometimes they are like the 12-inch, that 12-inch, 1x6 scale figures and stuff like that. Yeah, they look amazing, but like I can't put a mortgage on my house for these.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that gets me is like you'll see the collectors that do like their reviews of those toys, and they'll go, well, now remember, guys, now this costume is made of a such and such material, and remember, if you leave this in any kind of pose, you might damage the suit over time. I'm like, dude, if I spent, let's say I got the low end one, I spent $200 on it, it better be rock solid. It better never damage from just articulating like it's supposed to be articulated.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I think Todd knows that. He's like, you know what? These people are collecting this because statues are too expensive. So why do you give them an action figure that's almost as expensive as some statues? I only have one statue that I've ever bought, and it was that Nightwing.
And I know it, Nightwing.
Yeah, by Scott McDaniel, and that's like my prized possession. You know how much that thing cost me when I bought it?
I bet you got it for like $20 back in the day.
No, I got it for $75.
Wow.
Remember you remember this story? Remember when we were over at the Kmart and
Yeah,
that guy walked up to us and he's like, "Hey guys, y'all want to make $80?" And I'm sitting there. I remember looking at him like, "Oh my god, this is how they do it." I thought you had to be in like a bathroom stall and there's like a secret knock or you tapped your toe on the ground or something. I didn't think that this is how the truckers came up to you and offered you money for sexual favors.
But I said yes.
You said yes. I was so freaked out. I was like, "Oh my god, Bodz, no."
We followed that trucker around to the back of the building, and what happened?
It got worse though. You notice, you see that from my angle, it got worse. I was like, he's like taking us to the back, and I'm like, "Oh god, no, this is not good. This is not good. This is exactly how this happens." I'm sitting there thinking, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna unload this truck full of Kmart goods," and I was like, "Oh, thank God." I was like,
and you got money that day.
I did get money, but you know what? He was kind of. I was thinking it would be $80 per person. He kind of got us like, he's like, "You want to make $80?" If you would have said you want to make 40, I might have been a little like, like I don't know. Especially when I thought there was a blowjob in fucking our future right there, but whenever we turned and I was like, "Oh, thank God, it's just unloading this truck." So we remember we had to sign releases from Kmart to say if we were hurt, they were not responsible.
Yeah, I do remember that
whole flipping truck, whole truck, just the two of us. And
but $40 was a lot back then for us.
Yeah, it was a lot. And you know what? That was the money I used to help me pay, because I was off for about $40 to pay for that statue, and that's why I have it to this day, and that's why I prize it. I'm like, I worked hard for this.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's $75 was a lot for me back then. So yeah, 1999 or 1998 or whatever it was. So yeah, that was quite a bit. Let's move on to the next one. I thought this was cool. This looks to me more statuesque.
No, these are the statues.
Oh, these are statues. Okay, cool.
Yeah, these are like the 12-inch statues he does, which are pretty nice. I have one. I take it back. I have literally of his statues. I have two. I have the Witcher one when he did the line of Witcher 3 toys
the other day. Yeah.
And it's really cool. And then from back in the day, I was lucky and got this at a garage sale. They didn't know what they were selling, but the Bruce Campbell Army of Darkness, huge. It's got to be over a foot tall ash.
You know what? I had that one when it came out. It's gone. I don't know. Whenever I moved from college, my college townhouse, I don't know what happened to it from there. I had a foot tall.
Well,
it was so awesome.
I got this at a garage sale in my neighborhood, and the guy was telling me that he robbed a townhouse in a college town, and that's where he got it from. So
poor sucker, no idea
what he's missing. So awesome. McFarlane,
one of us has
McFarlane, yeah, McFarlane does good like statues. Like, I mean, I see a lot of people like customize them and do repaints and stuff like that, and I mean, it does make a difference, but just coming right out of the box, I think they look pretty great. And this looks pretty good right here.
To do a repaint, because that would, I mean, do you strip it first? Because most of it's black plastic, but to kind of
I don't know,
a little bit more character, because I have seen that too, where they'll take some of his. Tom McFarlane's also working on the Warhammer 40K universe, and so that he'll have. At first, people were just taking the ones, I guess, that were just already painted, and then they were like just repainting them. But now he does versions of them that aren't painted, and people just get to go from the ground floor. And what they'll do is they'll add epoxy to it for like different looks and stuff. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
So I'm pretty excited for those folks that are doing that. That'd be nice to send
your
statue off.
Our friend Justin paints those, and I painted one. They're fun. It's a fun little thing to do.
That's awesome. And again, here's another look at. I think they got Keaton's face pretty good, and I'm digging that he's he still looks cool. I'm liking the cowl and everything. It's more tuned than the old days. So.
I just wish the belt was gold or yellowish, but other than that, like I'm like his new
dog
costume.
with the bone, Bodz. You're a dog with a bone.
Yeah, I just want that. If you looked on the last picture, you see he still has the shin guards, the pointy shin guards and stuff. So
the kind of chevron shaped shin guards.
Yeah, I like that one. Now the gloves look different this time around, but maybe they're making them look more in tune with the shin guards or something. But all in all, it's good.
I would wonder to ask him about like, is this like okay? So like that was 1989, right? And this is 2023. Is the suit more comfortable over time?
Oh, like for him as an actor?
Comfort as an actor, because what I noticed about the first bat suit is like whenever remember whenever he's with Kim Basinger and Vicky, and they use the grapple gun to go up. Well, he falls, and you get to see the back of his without the cape briefly.
Yeah,
and I noticed like the whole back of his the latex cover that covers his chest, it stops at the back, and so that has to be for comfort because he's got this cape that's covering him, blocking any air, and now he's got.
You'll never see it.
Yeah. He would have been like sweating, drenched in sweat. So I'm wondering. Yeah. I'm curious. I'm curious to ask him like how much, because he had the advantage of having a cape. A lot of these characters don't have capes anymore.
And they're just CGI'd on there.
Yeah, you'll see him in the movies, and I'm like, just how comfortable? Because like Tony Stark, for example, Robert Downey Jr. Every time I see him, like in the when they show like behind the scenes stuff, he's got like just the upper chest piece on. He doesn't have the lower bit on. So I'm guessing that is all just in post. And that has to be way more comfortable than some of these other guys, like Thor's costume and. I mean, they're not doing like heavy latex looks anymore, except for like I guess in the new Love and Thunder stuff. But I'm just curious.
Well, if you'd like to ask him, we'll try next week. I'll see. I'll have him on here, and if you viewers just listen to the very end, he'll be here, and he'll tell us how comfortable it is. So
there you go. We'll get an exclusive on.
All y'all have to do is listen all the way to the end. I promise.
All right. They said there's something different about this, but from this photo, I looked at it a couple of times. I cannot tell what is different.
Are the wings lower in the back? Maybe.
I don't know. It looks.
I don't know.
To me, they were saying. I bet you it's something here on the hood. I'm not aware of.
I like that it looks the old way. So apparently, the old Batmobile was two Impala chassis, like melded together somehow, and then that jet engine. But the top speed of that, how much do you think the top speed was on that vehicle?
30.
That's exactly right. Okay, so
you're talking
nothing impressive.
Bodz. I was
nothing impressive to show you. You already know.
Yeah, no.
30 miles an hour.
He's like, well, we are cruising. So all that footage where he's like driving home sped up. Because think about it, man. I bet you money. First of all, that you could barely see out of this thing for the most part.
Yeah. Well, we'll ask him next week.
Yeah, we'll ask him. We'll know. And I bet you it does not turn on a dime. You know how like
I would,
grapple that Michael he's calling that the Batman turn. He shoots the grapple out and he turns. I bet you that thing turned like a slug. It just was really bad.
He's like, I have to do that for every turn.
Yeah, every turn I have to. Like, people are constantly getting hit by grapple hooks and like suing Batman. He's like taking out their legs. It's like, leg, you know.
I was just trying to cross the street.
Yeah, or like the line is left on there, and some like blind person's walking. They're not paying attention. They get freaking clotheslined by one of these things. But this thing. I'm glad it looks like the old one. That's awesome. I'm glad they didn't change.
Yeah.
Because some of the later iterations of the Batmobile and like the Forever and the Batman and Robin, not so hot on. They're just
not so hot. I like this one
too. I don't know. This is still my favorite Batmobile. And some of the cool stuff that it did in Returns was pretty cool. Where like split apart and then he just had the middle bit. That was cool.
Yeah, and then the body armor for the car.
Yeah, and
armored up.
What's really cool is when you start to see this stuff. And he had machine guns. Remember that was. That what was kind of cool about Batfleck's car is it had a cannon and some stuff on it too.
Yeah,
I don't remember. Yeah. They didn't shy away from that, and I kind of like that about that iteration.
He's like, I will shoot stuff.
I will shoot stuff, and I will like flip people at walls with my with my grapple hook, and their brains will splatter against her, but they're not dead. He's just asleep.
They're not dead. They're just knocked out, guys.
But move on to the next photo we have. Okay, so here's the Flash.
Yep.
And
so you got to have him.
I had to include him because it's the Flash line. To be honest, they should just be the Keaton Batman. They should just call this DC the Keaton Batman, and that's all it should be. Because nobody, I don't think anybody cares about Ezra Miller, or see, they couldn't even be bothered. In the top of this photo, he still got like a little piece of like plastic that they forgot to like rip off his head. No, but not even the guy taking this photo was like, I don't care.
I don't care.
Does the Keaton Batman look really good? Oh yeah, that looks great. Yeah,
great. That's what's going to sell.
Yeah, we polished that one. It looks great. But this one, like, nobody could be bothered. They're just like, yeah, just put it up there. No one cares.
I kind of hope that McFarlane goes back and makes an 89 statue or figure, to go along with the newer stuff. Something that I don't have any pictures to show here, but some of the, and maybe we'll show this in a future episode. Some of the pictures from the toys from the actual Flash line, not like McFarlane, but the actual line show like the different Flash costumes, because there's two Flashes, and one of them is just a repainted return suit, Batman return suit with like the ears cut off. Oh, it looks weird, but I mean, it looks like a Flash suit, but you can tell, like, if you look real closely, like, oh, there's the lightning bolt painted over the emblem.
Wow.
And so maybe in a future episode we'll talk about that when that line comes out. But it's something like, I go, did that just foreshadow how other Flash gets his suit maybe in the movie? We'll have to see.
We'll have to see. That is weird. You're gonna have to be aware of that, because I'm not into the toy thing anymore. But
I just saw that randomly somewhere. I don't even know where.
Oh, well, like I said, we'll see. But anyways, that's all I got for this week, Bodz. I hope that you listeners enjoyed this. I hope that you enjoyed this. What, did you enjoy this? I felt like
I enjoyed it.
This might have been one of our lower energy shows this week, because I'm actually dog tired right now.
I'm pretty tired too, and with John gone, it's kind of like we got to do all the work now. Then we got to talk.
Got to do all the heavy lifting. I try to do.
I'm here to say funny things every once in a while. That's my job. Just to say something funny every once in a while.
You're the sidekick on, like, I would be Conan O'Brien, and you'd be what's his name? Can I remember? Andy Richter.
Mm-hmm.
You got to jump in every once in a while. We need to
say something funny.
I thought that putting you on the toys would get you to open up a little bit more, but you are.
I did.
You're a man of few words, so.
I am a man of few words.
I've kind of known that about you forever. So, I hope that you enjoyed it. Listen, mutants out there, and I hope that all the and I didn't tell you this, Bodz. I came up. We're gonna be the middle-aged mutants, but then when you get to 50, you graduate. And
okay.
I didn't want to call it old-age mutants. I wanted to call it. Those are going to be known as the OG mutants.
The OG mutants. At least it sounds better.
It sounds better. The old age mutants, that sounds horrible. OG mutants sound awesome, and there'll be there'll be a few that will give that title. But I don't know if we'll be doing this till we're 50. But we may never make it to OG mutants. But I do know a few OG mutants out there, and some people I'd like to bring on as special guests. So, anyways. If you like this, go ahead and subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications so you can get more of this stuff. And we'll see you guys down the trail. Take it easy.
Bye.